Hello and welcome to You're Wrong About Musicals. I'm Esme,
And I'm now
and today we are going to be doing our much anticipated or much talked around.
anticipated by us and no
We,
one else.
I don't know, they could be dying to know our full thoughts on Operation Mincemeat.
We have made our thoughts on Operation Mincemeat clear.
End of year review for 2023.
I
Yeah,
struggled with this a bit because I was like, Basically, it only for me at least.
yeah.
I'm guessing for you as well. I made it. This is the most work I've put into preparing for an episode ever.
Oh yeah, how was
I
it?
made these playlists. It was quite easy. I just got to listen to music and write out dates on pictures.
That's basically what I do.
But basically, like it ends in August for me. I think for
Same.
you as well. I haven't seen a show since August. Yeah, but we were talking about seeing a show between Christmas and New Year's.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
obviously, we don't know what show we're going to see yet. We
Because
might do
we
Theatre Roulette.
we think we're gonna do Theatre Roulette, which will be really exciting. I've done it before, as we will find out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've not seen. I mean, as you can probably tell by the dates, we see a lot of like a lot.
But we see shows usually together.
Yeah,
There's on this list. There's two shows I saw without Esme.
there's a couple
Um,
more for me.
yeah. It's not like a rule. It's not like we have to see. There's some shows that we're like we have to see these together.
There was one show actually around this time last year where I was at TKTS buying tickets. Oh, I was going to TKTS, and my dad was like, "Oh, you could just go see Newsies," and I was like, "I can't go see Newsies."
Yeah, so we had to see Newsies together. We knew we had to well, actually this was the second time we saw Bonnie and Clyde. Um
We have to see Bonnie and Clyde together.
it was just stuff like that. We were like, we have to go and see this stuff together. But
I
it's
mean,
not a
what?
rule. Like I've seen shows
No.
about Esme seen shows about me. But it just means when we're both at uni, we don't see shows as much.
Yeah, and it's also the fact of like it costs money to go back to London and go see shows and
Yeah.
all of this other
And the problem is
stuff.
the ones that tour to the cities we're in are ones we've already seen.
Yeah, already seen or like are quite expensive, and there's no disc. I don't know the discount system as well because there
Yeah.
is there is like a theatre nearby that does do original work, but it's just
Yeah.
so expensive that like I just can't afford it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got 10 shows.
So I've been to the theatre 14 times, but
Yeah. How many shows have you seen? I've been to the theatre 10 times, but I've seen like 8 shows. Yeah.
yeah, that's probably around the same. I did better than last year, and I kept thinking my theatre like this was the year I was like, you know what, 2023, my theatre watching is going to go down because I'm at uni. It will not make any sense if this goes up, and then it did. And I was like,
Weird.
after August, I
Yeah.
was like, I think I need a break from the theatre.
Yeah, I was like, I cannot keep doing this.
That was yeah.
Before we do it, theatre news.
Theatre news. What
How to Dance in Ohio opened on Broadway.
it did,
Lovely.
it did.
They
I'm
had
not.
the real life counterparts. They brought them on stage.
I've not really
They
read
looked
the
very
reviews of that yet because I've just been. I would say busy, but I've not. I've just been exhausted.
yeah. I haven't properly read reviews, but I've seen good things.
I've heard good
Like the
things from
vibe seems good.
the vibe. Like all in all, I think How to Dance in Ohio is like very good.
I want to go see it.
Yeah, we were talking about this on Sunday because me and Elle, we were wandering around
Oh, we
London
met up.
aimlessly on,
Um,
on Sunday. Um, and like as like we were getting ready to like leave London, we were just like, so how about in Ohio? Am I gonna come to the UK?
I said I think the best of this. I don't think it will do well
Yeah,
in the UK, but I'd really like to see it.
I think it's
I
another
think it could be
palace
a
kind of
really good
job.
production. Other Palace. That was announced.
The
It was
casting for
intentions
that,
19.
yeah, the casting. It has that
So yeah,
TikTok woman in it.
happy button.
I
It
do
looks
want
pretty
to.
good. I'm not going to see it because it's a jukebox, but
No, no. The What's on Stage Award nominations came out. I'm getting them up
yeah,
as we speak, so we can like actually know what we're on about.
guys, I'm just going to say best concert. Love Never Dies
Okay,
concert. It was
so
great. We're going to talk about it.
best performer in a
Um,
musical is Michael Homer Lindsay for Newsies.
yeah, vote for that.
We will tell you not what we're not going to tell you what to vote for. We're going to tell you what not to vote for.
If you ever see the words Operation Mincemeat under as a nomination.
Okay, so Natasha Hodgkinson, Operation Mincemeat.
Okay, here's the thing. We're gonna get into this when we talk about seeing Operation Mincemeat. The thing we always say when we don't like a musical is like, oh, the actors are great in it. It's just the musical we don't like.
I'm pretty
The
sure she
actors
wrote it
the musical.
and
Yeah,
produced
she
it
did. Yeah.
and is starring in it.
And you know what? I'm sure she's lovely. I don't want Operation Mincemeat to win anything because
No.
it doesn't deserve
Um,
it, in my opinion.
no, it doesn't.
And I can't tell you what to vote for. That's against the rules of the What's on Stage nomination.
Is that actually?
Yeah.
Oh, Souls
It's
Day
like,
though.
you know how it makes you confirm that this is your only submission of
Oh yeah.
nominations.
We have already
They have
voted, so we're not voting and we're not messing up the rules. It's
Yeah,
fine.
and you can't like, I guess technically you could. Like you could tell all your friends to put their email in and vote for these specific people, but you're not really meant to.
No.
Because that's how you get stuff like the Stranger Things
Oh, we'll get
having
to it.
a ton of nominations, 6 days of performances.
Yeah, Ed Larkin in The Big Little Things, which I really want to see. Casey Levy in Next to Normal. Nicole Scherzinger in Sunset Boulevard. Marisha Wallace.
I think she was really good. I haven't seen her, but I do think she's really good.
All of those out of the 6, there are 5 I'd be very happy with winning. Best supporting performance.
If Operation Mincemeat had to win something, because I feel like they're gonna win something, I would rather it be for a performance.
Yes.
Because you know what does she play? Ewan Montague?
They all look the same to me.
I think it's Ewan Montague.
Okay. I don't think I want to do all of them.
I think they have the guy who plays Hester.
Yeah, he's nominated for best supporting performer, and they are doing gender neutral performer categories at the What's on Stage Awards, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. I do wish that it had been the woman playing Jean.
Oh yeah.
I personally think she was better. I think that's just because I preferred actually. I was about to say it's because I preferred Jean's songs, and then I remembered what her first song is, and I was like, actually, I really don't.
And Hester gets
I
Dear
prefer
Bill.
Useful. Yeah, the thing is, I prefer Useful to Dear Bill and fucking All the Ladies.
Oh, fucking hate All the Ladies. Anything else interesting? So yeah, there's been some debate around how the hell
Stranger Things
has been able to get all of its nominations due to the fact that it just opened.
Wasn't it also so before the nominations were due, it only had 6 previews?
Yeah, it hadn't even officially opened.
Yeah, which is kind of weird. I really thought that Newsies was going to be classed as an off West End production.
I don't think they know what to do with Newsies because it was like its first big London run, but it wasn't West End.
Because the thing I don't get is they've heavily implied or outright stated that they're coming back, that Newsies is returning. And my assumption was always that it was going to return into a West End theatre.
Interesting, like restage it.
Yeah, which would suck because the way it was like, because I just think they're expecting Starlight Express to go on for a bit.
Yeah, they'd be stupid not to.
I thought it was going to be into a West End theatre or into a different venue.
Yeah, I could see them putting it somewhere different.
But I thought it was going to be on West End.
Yeah.
And so this year it would be nominated as an off West End, and then later as either an on West End or as a revival, I guess. Now.
Yeah, I don't know. Those rules are interesting.
As a revival, if it's like within a year.
And it's the same production? I don't think so. But for best new musical, it is Newsies, The Big Little Things, Mrs. Doubtfire, Die.
Don't vote for Doubtfire. I can't influence you, but don't vote for Doubtfire.
Swear, if any of the organisers are listening, we are influencing.
We're just sharing opinions.
I swear, I'm sharing my opinion. Next to Normal, yay!
You see, like Esme loves Next to Normal. I would say don't vote Next to Normal, vote Newsies.
We had this debate when we were voting when I was doing my nomination.
I was like looking over her shoulder while she was voting.
She wasn't influencing me or telling me what to vote for. She was just there.
I was like making faces at her, like she'd vote for Next to Normal. Like,
I was like, should I vote for Next to Normal?
I guess if you want.
I didn't vote for Next to Normal. I voted strategically.
Best West End show or whatever that one's called.
Then it's Operation Mincemeat, and then it's Time Traveler's Wife.
I've had mixed things on Time Traveler's Wife.
So have I. Best musical revival is also interesting because it's Guys and Dolls, At the
which is
bridge.
very good. We've
I've
heard.
had it.
From a trusted source.
Follies. The Kaja Follies? Follies. At Regent Park. Lord of the Rings, that's a musical. Okay.
Never heard that this existed
Didn't
until
know
these
it was
nominations
I
came
knew,
out.
I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know it was a musical. The Sound of Music at Chichester.
The nominations are really weird this year.
Then
I don't think I paid as much attention to them.
Sunset Boulevard, and then The Wizard of Oz.
Honestly, I'd be happy with kind of any of those.
Yeah, I feel very neutral about them. Best concert event, Nell has many opinions
Love
on.
Never Dies. Love Never Dies in concert.
Ariana
With
DeBose in
Norm Lewis.
concert.
See, I feel like Darren Criss is gonna win.
These are just the nominations. Darren Criss, Ibiza in concert, Love Never Dies in concert, Once in concert, and then Schwartz at 75.
I think Darren Criss is gonna win, and I won't even be upset about it because I love Darren Criss.
And then this is just
I would love Love Never Dies to win.
Yeah, this is just best West End show.
Phantom. Everyone vote Phantom, right?
I didn't vote for Phantom. No,
I know, and I'm pissed about you about it.
You made your case for me not voting for Next to Normal in hope of voting against Mincemeat, so I got to vote for Les Mis.
Yeah, so basically I said, Esme, listen, this is tactical voting.
Yeah.
You can't actually vote for what you want. You just have to vote so Mincemeat doesn't win.
And I was like, good point, let me vote for
If anyone who is like a part of this process is listening, that's a joke.
It's a joke, I swear.
I didn't make Esme vote for anything. I just said I personally think that Newsies was better than Next to Normal, despite having only seen one of them.
No, wasn't sat. We were sat in Victoria fucking Station.
It sounded like the McDonald's in Victoria.
Even though I told Toby I'd keep my mouth shut about these awards. So yeah,
I'm kind of sad that Diana missed the car.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what?
For Best Musical.
I want to see Matty Healy's mum get nominated. So yeah, Back to the Future, Cabaret, Les Mis, Moulin Rouge, Phantom, and Six.
I think Cabaret might win.
Yeah, I think that they're pretty.
The thing with all of those is I think all of them deserve it. There's some that, like, obviously if some won over others, I'd be happier.
Yeah.
But there's none of them where I'd be like, that doesn't deserve an nomination.
One thing I will say is that I think Next Door was up for set. It's up for something. It was up for something really small where I was like, oh no, it actually really deserves that sound design. That was it, where I was like, it needs sound design.
Hanukkah? Happy Hanukkah?
I mean, Hanukkah, guys, if you celebrate, we wish you happy times. They eat certain foods that look really nice.
What do you call it? Like potato cakes, I think. Yes,
I've heard that the wine is also.
They begin with a K. I don't know what they're called.
Latkes? I heard that the wine is also really strong and like really good. From a friend who is actually
uni students.
From a friend who is actually Jewish. She was like, my first time ever getting drunk properly was on that wine. I was like, I didn't realize how much I'd had, and then I'd had. There is a Paddington Bear musical also happening.
Oh yeah.
With Tom Fletcher writing the music. He is. Do you think Carrie will be in it?
Who would she be?
I don't know what a Paddington musical will even be to begin with, so who knows, man.
But yeah, Carrie Hope Fletcher's brother.
Yeah, he is a musician in his own right. Like, I don't know if he wrote, but his band did the Year 3000 song before the Jonas Brothers. Like, that's where it started. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, yes. So I received a call from my friend in the middle of the day on Friday. And I was like, that's weird. I know you're in class all the time because you're constantly telling me how your uni schedule is way more intense than mine. This is Toby. He goes, Esme, have you seen the news? And I was like, no, I haven't seen the news. Joe Locke's going to be on Broadway in Sweeney Todd as Tobias. And I was like,
congrats to him. It's a good role.
Yeah. I was like, source? Because this man spends a lot of time on Heartstopper fan pages, so it could have just been some random fan cast. And he was like, no, it's on Deadline. And I was like, oh, okay. Good for him.
Yeah. I think that's fun.
Anywho, should we start? Anything else to say at top?
I think that's it.
Okay.
Are we just doing this in order of when we saw the shows?
Yeah. So as we said, Nell has put together a lovely tier list for us.
Yeah, it took me like 2 hours.
Do you want to go first?
I'm happy to. the first show we saw this year
Yeah.
was shockingly late. We saw our first show on the 1st of April.
Yeah.
It
Well, we
was
were at
Bonnie
uni.
we were at uni for a while. What happened right before it?
Oh my God. Oh God,
Okay,
yeah.
we
So
saw the
this will
show on the
explain my
first.
ranking actually.
Yeah, we saw the show on the 1st of
April
April
2023.
23. So on the 31st of March 2023,
No, yeah,
it was a
yeah.
Friday, which makes this more understandable. It was a Friday. We were seeing it on the Saturday evening. I was at uni, and my mum was going to come and pick me up the next day and drive me back. It was going to be like Easter break,
Can I
like a
say where
month.
I was?
And Esme,
Where was I?
where
I
were
was
you, Esme?
I was in Lisbon. So
That's
like our flight was like meant to come at what time was our flight meant to land? Our flight was meant to like get in at like midnight on the Friday, and we're walking around like Lisbon as one does as a tourist. We had done like 30,000 steps every day of this holiday, and it was like 4 days long. Anyway, so I'm exhausted to begin with. I'm like, I just want to go home and sleep right in bed and then go and see Bonnie and Clyde the next day. We get a text saying that our flight's been delayed, and surprise, surprise, the flight doesn't actually end up boarding until 11:30 in the end.
yeah.
And
I've
so
got a text from you at about 4 a.m. saying you just gotten in. Yeah.
no, I have such a vivid memory of like coming in and just like getting into my bed and completely passing out. And then I remember sending a video to a friend the next day, and I was just like, I'm awake. I don't
Yeah,
remember. I don't remember being tired though.
I think we were both a bit, because basically I was at uni and then I got invited to go out that night because it was like the last day of term before Easter break. And they were like, "Do you want to come out with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I was like, "But I'll have an early night and I'll head home at about 1." So I did that and I went to bed. I woke up and I just remembered I tweeted something.
Me and we have tickets for Bonnie and Clyde tomorrow, and one of us is getting ready for a night out, and one is stuck in Portugal.
It was just so ridiculous.
And I remember at one point it was like, should we just like get a flight tomorrow? And I was like, no, I need to
Yeah.
go. I need to be there. I'm seeing Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, my mum had like bought the tickets and they were good
Exactly.
tickets. Like we had really good seats.
They were for your like Christmas. And I remember at
Yeah.
one point like my parents were like, should we just like book you on a flight tomorrow? Because this is getting ridiculous now. And I was like, what's the earliest flight? Because I need to be back in the UK.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, it's
Um,
really not that deep. And I was like, you don't understand. It's Bonnie and Clyde.
we got there, we saw it, it was all good.
It was
Um,
amazing.
it was incredible. We listened to the recording again. We talked for a while. And of course we would never watch a bootleg. That's a
Never.
well-known fact about
Never.
us. However, for a very long time we were, if an audio bootleg happened to fall into our laps, we may or may
Yes,
not have listened to it on repeat.
obviously. I may or may not. No, guys, no one check my phone for audio bootlegs. You won't find any.
You'll never find any. But it was incredible. I think the one thing I really remember was there's a song on Bonnie and Clyde called Raise a Little Hell,
Oh
and then there's
my
Raise a Little Hell reprise.
God,
And I've
raise a little
always been like,
hell.
I far prefer the reprise. I think the original is okay. Like it's sung by Jeremy Jordan in the original. I was like, that's he's a great singer. I love him. It's not really my song. And then we
Obviously,
listened to it, and I
never
was like,
any, never any hate to our boy Jeremy.
yeah, I was just like, this isn't really my style of song. It's a bit too slow.
Yeah.
It's honestly not even that slow in any like recording of it.
No, I just
But
think that
it
the
just wasn't my vibe.
reprise, because we saw the concert with Jeremy. So it's our second time seeing Frances Mailey McCann as Bonnie, which we were very excited about. When we saw it live as well, and my assertion of the reprise is better than the original was confirmed. But then, yeah, this time.
We were both just I think did that happen right before the interval? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like one of the last
Well,
songs because
remember
it's
is the end of
yeah.
Act One.
Yeah, because he's
Um,
plotting to break out of prison.
we just turned to each other in the interval and were like, holy shit.
Shit.
It was so good. And I think like I got emotional, I was giggling, I was laughing, I was sobbing. And I can't tell if it's because we were both slightly sleep deprived or because it
Yeah.
was really good.
No, but the recording of it is really good. I still prefer Raise a Little Hell reprise on the original But like, if I'm going to listen to Raising Little Hell, I'll listen to the West End version.
Yeah. Where are you gonna put it? What tier? We have, for reference, we have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier.
I'm gonna have to put it in B tier because it was good.
Yeah.
However, if it wasn't such a stacked year for me having seen theatre, it would be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Like against last year's run of shows, this would have been like A tier, maybe S tier.
I think that's my problem. I look back on it. The last show, for reference, the show I'd seen, the last show I'd seen before we saw Bonnie and Clyde was Phantom,
Yes.
and that was in like December of 2022.
The last show I'd seen,
and I loved it, obviously.
obvious. We know.
We
The last
know.
show I'd seen was Newsies.
And so I think I'll join you. I'll put it in beta.
Okay.
I think that's deserved. The next show we saw was the next day.
The next day.
On the 2nd of April 2023, we saw The Great British Bake Off, the musical.
So we had no intention of seeing this. And then one of us sends a TikTok being like, this seems strange. Let's go see it.
I didn't remember this till after we'd seen it. Like the year before, I'd seen an ad for it. And I was like,
The ads were all over London.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell would that even be about? Like, they obviously can't take real people's stories from Bake Off and just recreate it. So
yeah,
that's so strange. What the hell will this be about?
Yeah.
And then we saw it. We'd had nothing but bad reviews. Everyone hated it.
Everyone was like, what? And it was really cheap. Bless its little heart.
For like 20 quid each.
Yeah, we were like row D of the stalls, and it was 25 quid, I believe.
I think we checked afterwards, and those seats were usually like 90 or something.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
90 is ridiculous for anything to see, for reference. I've not paid.
You rich all of a sudden you paid 90 quid for theatre.
No, I have not paid, but I have sat in other seats that are worth like 90 quid.
Yeah, I've sat in seats worth 90 quid.
But those were worth it.
Yeah. I think we were just like curious and it was cheap enough. And it was enough of an oddity for us to be like, let's just go see it.
Yeah, we were like, you know what? Basically, you're going to see that we do 3 shows, Bonnie and Clyde, Bake Off, and then the next show we'll do in very quick succession, because we had this joke about doing theatre week, not theatre week, culture week as a joke. And it's basically, we were both home for a week. How many shows can we see?
Yeah.
In 1 week for cheap.
We planned on seeing one more, but the getting a good enough price for the next one took us a while.
Yeah, and we were determined to see.
That was like the big one.
The next one at that point.
It was like the one that basically Culture Week had been built around.
But I fucking love Bake Off so much.
Interesting.
No slander towards Bake Off. It was so much fun.
My thing with Bake Off, we went in kind of willing to be snarky about it.
Yeah, we were like, this isn't going to be good. We're just here to see it.
We're here for the experience. And I so vividly remember on the tube to the theatre seeing these 2 women just gossiping really loudly about their
Yeah,
lives.
we were sat kind of silently on the tube, and these 2 women like opposite us were just gossiping. And like, that's gonna be us when we're older.
And then we get off and we're like, that's us when we're older, isn't it? And then we get to the theatre and there's another 2 women behind us gossiping really loudly about all the shows they hate. And I was like,
so it's in the Knoll Coward. It was in the Knoll Coward.
Knoll Coward, yeah.
And these 2 women behind us were just talking about the other shows that had been in there that they had liked and disliked.
That was like
really funny.
We are really just seeing into our future today. We had to right the wrong of going to see David Hansen there and like replace it with a good memory.
Yeah, that was like the last show we'd seen in the Knoll Coward, like 3 years ago.
Well, it was the last musical that was in the Knoll Coward before.
I remember a lot of what we talked about growing up because I love it. The thing we said, and it did basically become Heather's slander, was that it shouldn't have gone into a West End theatre as soon as it did. It needed to go to like the other palace.
No, exactly.
Because the main problem was the second act needed so much work.
I loved the first act. The first act was genuinely amazing. We were laughing our asses off.
It was so good.
There were so many jokes, and I don't know whether or not it was because it kind of is written for people like us.
I think some of the jokes aren't entirely like written as blatant jokes. So it's like the fact that they can't call any of the presenters the names that the actual presenters are. So instead of like Paul Hollywood and what's her name, Prudy,
Yeah. So it's Phil and Pam.
Phil and Pam, and then the presenters were named something else as well.
And then the presenters were Kim, I believe.
Kim and Jim.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kim and
Pam Lee and Phil Hollingworth. It was like that was, and then there was this bit, the main character. So it's kind of you might assume it would be an ensemble show because obviously it's Bake Off.
it is kind
will-
of. They're all on
Yeah.
stage for most of it.
Yeah, but there's this point when Gemma comes on, and she
Oh,
comes on right at the
yes.
end of the first, well, not the first song, because there's only a song before it, but I always forget there is. But
No.
we watched the program and we're like, oh, this is going to be a bad show. This
Yeah.
is not good.
Yeah.
And then the Bake Off Kent song started, and by the end of it, we were like, holy shit, this is so good.
My favorite characters, like the most entertaining, I don't know, because my favorite characters, most like entertainment wise, and like who I actually rooted for are two completely different people. So Izzy was also obviously very entertaining. She is like,
Yeah.
she's played by Grace Moat. She was, I don't know, how would you describe Izzy? Like this type A high achiever who is like willing.
Yeah, she was like at Oxford studying art history.
Yes.
She was very much like, I'm very pretty. I can cook, I guess, but I'm really pretty and I'm
I'm
really
better than
smart.
all of you.
Yeah.
And then my
I
other,
guess we can spoil it because it's not open anymore.
yeah, my other favorite guy, my other favorite contestant was Dazza. Dazza.
Dezza was like a vegan,
He
and
was
he's the
so
first to get
funny.
eliminated. But he is so funny. Like he kept, like there was a
Appearing.
point when who was it? It was like Ben or someone. There was like this older guy. Like the thing was, they did the type of contestants you get so well.
Yeah. And
Like
I'm
they
not
had
like a Bake Off watcher. I just like, you're
yeah,
able to
but
pick out the archetypes so easily.
they have this point where one of them gets like cuts their finger, and they're like, "Oh, we need someone to replace him." And Dezza runs on from the audience.
He ran right past us.
It was so good. And he's like a vegan, and that's his whole joke is that
He lives
he
on like
does,
a
like-
houseboat in Shoreditch.
so again, it's kind of both an ensemble song, but you could an ensemble production. Like it's based around an ensemble of characters. We can very easily tell that Gemma is the main character.
The second she appears, I was like, oh, she's the main character. Because I was
The
thinking,
whole point is basically she wasn't initially chosen for Bake Off. She's the replacement. She was the backup, and someone else dropped out,
contestant.
and then she gets. Oh my god, is she from Blackpool? There's one of my favorite lines from her is when I think she's talking to Ben, who's her love interest, by the way.
Oh
Who
yes.
has a daughter.
Oh yeah, Lily.
Yeah.
She like appears.
Yeah.
Like a tiny bit.
But Gemma just has this line, and she's like, "Oh, I was a carer in Blackpool." And they were like, "Oh, you're not anymore. What happened?" And he's like, "Oh, I got made redundant." Like, how? He's like, "Well, my mum died."
Like the first act was such a like a tight act, if you get what I mean. Like everything was just coming at you. And I remember saying to you at the interval, like, this is good.
It's really good.
And then the second act happened.
Yeah. So I think one of the big problems we had, which we talked about after we saw it as well, a ton of the characters don't get songs.
It's very weird, the allocation of songs, because someone like Kazan, who is in it the entire time, he is like one of the contestants all the way up until the final, he doesn't get a song.
Like his story is that he doesn't feel entirely British. Like there's this joke he makes with Francesca, who's Italian. I don't remember where Hassan is from. It's like very blatantly stated, but I don't remember where it is.
Yeah.
But he's just like, it's crazy how the two non-British people have made it this far. And so he never gets a song exploring that. And then by the end, because he basically, in his initial introduction, he's Hassan from somewhere who's studying at sixth.
North Wembley.
From North Wembley who's studying at sixth form. And then by the end, they redo his introduction, and it's Hassan from his home country.
Yeah.
I feel really bad. I don't remember where it is. Because it's like
I know where,
line, and I wish they'd done it more.
I know where Francesca's from, but that's because it's said in that first song.
Yeah, she's from Italy.
She's from Bologna. And then she goes to Bognor Regis.
I was like, I loved I wish Ben,
Oh yeah.
who's gay, he's like the stereotypical gay contestant that they have.
Yeah.
It's really fun. He doesn't get a song, and I wish he did.
Yes.
I'm kind of fine with Deza not getting a song because he's the first eliminated.
And he makes it so much better that we never actually get like his song. I do like
I've also just realized I said it wrong. Ben is the policeman from Bristol who's a love interest. Russell is the
oh my god,
gay
yes.
aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
It's
And,
such fun character.
and he like lives in a tiny village with his dogs and his husband, and he has an Instagram
Yeah.
account already set
And
up.
he's like, oh, my Instagram's the queen of tarts. And I was like, that's
Yes.
so funny.
I think
I'm trying to
when
think
the
of
show
another one.
stops being an ensemble show, it really sags.
Yeah. Like there are points like I loved
Somewhere in the Dough.
Somewhere in the Dark. Incredible song.
Guys, go and
It's
listen to like Somewhere
yes,
in the Dough and the Bake Off 10 if you have. And also, like, obviously, it is the Bake Off
obviously.
10, obviously, Somewhere in the Dough, and maybe slap it like that because I think it's funny.
Keep on keeping on. If you
Oh,
want to see
yeah.
Prue Leaf do a cartwheel.
Oh my god, that was wild.
Okay, there's this other thing. There's this song called The Perfect Petit Four,
Oh
which
my
is sung
god,
by
yes.
Gemma and Ben. And I was listening to it when we were watching it, and I was like, this song sounds
You literally
really
said to me this,
familiar.
like, as everyone was applauding, you were like, this sounds like something. And I was like, it
This
does.
sounds familiar. And neither of us could figure out. And then I went home, and like a week later or something, I texted Esme, and I was like, Esme, it's in.
It's
It's
in.
in from Carrie.
It's, so they go,
It
do, do,
sounds like
do.
in.
And you know, in when they go, worry. I've opened
It
was.
sounded like that. It wasn't exactly the same, but it sounds so similar. And that, like that's not a critique or anything.
No,
It's
it's
just
just
that I thought it was really funny.
there are a certain number of like musical notes. Another thing that I didn't enjoy was that they never announced a winner. Just give it to Gemma. Just give
I
it to
get why
Gemma.
what they did. They were like, right, they have this big whole song at the end. And then they're like, oh, I guess you want to know who won. Well, you'll have to watch the series. I was
No,
like, haha, I get it.
it's a
The
cop
other
out
thing
though.
I don't know if I liked it or disliked it. I guess I more disliked it. They had an ensemble. So they had like the other bakers.
Yes.
And then they had an ensemble on top of that. Who were in like two songs. And then when they
hmm
came out for bows, I was like, who the hell are you people?
Oh my god, yes, the ensemble. I know exactly what you're on about now. Sorry. That
Yeah,
took me a
and
second.
they were in the prologue, and then I think they were at the end acting as the Baker's families.
Yes.
Because
And
you
then
get that at the end of
they would
it.
like come on and like move the set around.
Yeah, but I had no idea who they were. The set was also incredible. Um,
I
it was
really
just
I
really
really
fun.
enjoyed how they had the overture be the theme tune. So it just got out of the way
Yeah,
quickly. It was like, here's the piece of music that we know you think you're gonna hear.
I think like there was the joke about the baked Alaska, and it was done so well. Where they were like, "Oh fuck, my baked Alaska is not frozen. It's all mush. What am I gonna do?" And then they had a spotlight on the bin,
I don't know
and
how deep.
that was in the last song of Act One
Yeah,
because the joke was, "Oh, they're doing an ice cream week on the hottest week of the
hottest
year,"
week of
which
the year.
always happens every year.
Yeah, and as I said, we don't really watch Bake Off, but we still really, really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
However,
and they had Pam and Phil. I'm trying to call them by the names that actually called them. They had them. I think it was the opening of Act Two. They come on dressed as scones, and they have a fight over whether it's pronounced scone or scone. They
yeah,
like wrestle. And it's either it might not be the opening of Act Two
it's like
because the opening of
one of
Act Two
them.
is them talking about Pam's book, and she
Oh,
comes and does a cartwheel across stage.
oh yeah. I w as we're talking about the actress who played Pam, she did sadly die this year. This is like quite
It
a
was
hard
really sad.
left turn. Hayden Gwen. It was like so. It was an honor, I would say, to see her before. She was
Yeah.
really good. It's really sad. R.I.P. legend. And normally when I say that, I'm being sarcastic. I'm genuinely not.
Oh, it's not. It's right after Slap It Like That.
God, this musical's so not serious, and I love it. However, it
And then
does have
the handshake song is so much fun.
it for me. It has issues that like it's not its fault. Its issues aren't its fault, if you get what I mean, because it's the
It's the
first
thing.
time.
I can see entirely how they got to what we saw on stage. It makes perfect sense why they put that on stage as a final musical. It makes perfect sense. but it wasn't good enough. You know, I wish they could have gone somewhere like the other palace for like a year max
And
and
also
workshopped it.
it is important to note that the people that wrote this, so James Bunger and
English, yeah.
Pippa Cleary, it is their first musical. It's their first musical. It only had its premiere a couple of months before it came to the West End. So it premiered in Cheltenham in 2022, and then it was on the West End early 2023.
I want to go and see it again. I hope it reopens at some point.
I hope it reopens having had a revamp.
Because the thing is, like, I begged my mum to go and see it. I was like, Mum, you're gonna love this. She never went and saw it.
It was one
I
where I
was
was like,
you would love it.
my grandparents would really love this.
Like, there's this song that Francesca sings about her trouble getting pregnant.
Oh,
And
grow.
it's such a lovely song. It's
Yeah.
just, I think it's such a sweet musical. It's not like the plot isn't particularly deep.
No,
There's not a whole ton on the line.
no.
But the characters are really fun. It's like it's a very British fun musical. There's another British musical on here, like very British musical. That isn't good. I'm genuinely distraught that it has stayed open and
Yeah,
continues
so
to extend
this is like
when this one
what we
closed.
yeah, no, I think I just think it needs more work done to it. What we saw was such a work in progress, but it was presented to us like it was the finished product.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing I still listen to the soundtrack pretty regularly.
I listened to
Like,
parts
I'll
of
just
it.
be like, you know what? I have it on my my long flight playlist, which is just the longest playlist I have of all the songs I like. I have it on that, and I always enjoy when the songs come on. I'm like, wow, this is a really fun song.
Yeah, so
And then here's the problem: is now ranking it.
I've put it in C tier, not because I don't like it, but because it's just a work in progress.
Controversially, I'm gonna put it in B tier along with Bonnie and Clyde.
Interesting. I just couldn't put it next to Bonnie and Clyde. That was it.
I can.
Okay.
I think objectively, Bonnie and Clyde is better than
Yeah.
Bake Off. But for me personally, I can't put Bake Off lower than a B.
Also, one thing you're probably going to notice is that I like the more dark and I don't know
I
how
love
to
fun and
describe it.
whimsy. And
Mel
Esme
likes.
hates fun and whimsy.
I don't hate fun and whimsy. It's just
Every
not
time
my
I smile, Esme
favorite.
slaps me.
Not true, but like I think definitely my top shows are definitely going to affect the fact that my musical tastes do lean a bit more dark.
Yeah. And I don't hate dark shows. Like my favorite, we're about to see. My favorite show is Phantom of the Opera.
But you know what I mean?
I was well aware that I was going to prefer Bake Off more than Esme did.
Yeah, I'm still
I think
glad
even
I've seen it.
before we saw it, I was like, I'm probably like, even if we both hate it, I'm gonna like it more than you do.
Like, I'm still very glad I've seen it. I would have regretted not seeing it. I had an
It was so
amazing
good.
time.
Like, I think the thing for me is B tier is like I would go see it again.
Yeah.
Like Bonnie and Clyde, I have the option to go and see again, and I'm thinking maybe I will. Like, it's coming to the city I live in on tour. I'll
Yeah.
explain this ranking now because I feel like I should do it now. S tier is like my favorite shows.
I could go
Like
every
shows
day.
that I will go and see again. A tier is like I almost definitely will go see again. Like if
Yeah.
you give me the opportunity
Yeah.
and the money, I will go and see it. B tier is like, you know what? If it was cheap, I would 100% go see it again.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to spend that much money. C tier is I've seen it once and I'm happy I've seen it once.
Yeah.
But I don't really need to. D tier as I fucking hate it. I wish I'm tempted to put a level below D tier to
But
put a certain show in.
no. I feel like
I
my
won't.
ranking's more of
I
like
hate it.
my ranking's more of like some of the best things. Like my ranking's not as based on if I'd go see it again. There's one show that's made this way. Mine's more like S tier is like one of the best pieces of theatre I've ever seen. A tier is like almost one of the best. B is like that was good. C tier is like yeah, it was enjoyable. D tier is like I don't want to be here.
See, that's the thing. They're basically the same ranking, except mine is based on would I see it again, and yours is how you felt in the moment.
Yeah, and
They
like
mean
how
the
I
same
felt
thing.
in reflection. Yeah.
Yeah. They mean the same thing. We just explained it
we just
differently.
read it differently.
You ready
I'm
to
talk about Phantom.
I'm ready.
You're always ready.
The next show we saw on the 5th of April. So you can tell there was a little bit of a gap as we tried to get tickets.
We tried to get cheap enough tickets because one thing about fucking Cameron and Andy is that they like charging quite a bit.
Oh yeah. So our plan was always, again, I want to reiterate that we have the same shows, just seeing them on different times
Yeah,
on here before we get into this. But basically, we knew we were going to get kind of shit seats for this
yeah,
because of the general price of like
yeah.
Phantom tickets. And they weren't terrible. You know, we had a
No.
great view.
Yeah, we could see everything.
This is a very nice way of saying we were very high up and far back,
Oh yeah.
but we could see everything.
Now
I
had
love, I love Phantom Theatre.
gone to see Phantom and gone, Esme, you need to go see it.
Yeah, I was like, Esme, I don't care what you think about Phantom, Andrew Lloyd Webber, or any of that. You have to see Phantom of the Opera.
And you would spend like 3 months going, Esme, you gotta go see it, Esme, you gotta go see it. And so I was like, okay, I'll go see it.
Reference, I'm incredibly persuasive because Esme does currently have one of my copies
I
of the Phantom of the
do.
Opera books. And I kept telling her, you need to read the Phantom of the Opera as well.
I'm going away in how many days after recording this? 8 days. I'm going away, and I'm so excited. So many reasons. One of them is that I can just sit and read. One of those being the
I
book.
love Phantom of the Opera. On Sunday, we met up and I spent a solid 10 minutes talking about a single use of onomatopoeia in the book.
Yeah, we were
Just explaining it.
When we're talking about our other, when we're talking about meeting up on Sunday, our other friend was there who's not like as brain dead as us.
My apologies to her. Have me put up with that.
Also speaking of Sunday, I walk out after saying goodbye to Nell, literally, and I see a bus, right? And
This
it's
is
like
such a beautiful bus.
Christmas lights tour, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then I'm like, that's an old Phantom of the Opera poster. And it was so cool because I remember when, I don't know whether or not we were live when, but buses used to have posters on the back of the little squares, right? Because I have such a vivid memory of seeing a Les Mis poster like that.
I do just want to say, my one thing about this bus is why the hell was one of the posters just the Phantom mask with text above it that reads, "Do you remember your first time?" What the fuck does that mean? Why was that a thing on this bus? It was, and it's on the back as well. It was on the front and back. It just says, "Do you remember your first time?"
Oh my god, literally 2 seconds after seeing that, I also saw the banner that Songbirds and Snakes bus.
Oh my god.
I was like, what the hell? Are they just putting all of my interests on buses?
Yeah, this production of Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good.
I went in basically knowing, well, I knew a lot from you.
Yeah.
But I wasn't as familiar with the score, and it was a real treat. There were parts where I was like, this is amazing, and there were parts where I was like,
I can tell you right now, there was a point in the show which will greatly influence my ranking. It was in the first act, right after the song Prima Donna and Notes and Prima Donna, that bit of the show, if you're familiar. And it's a quite grand song. And then the ending, they're all singing together. And they have a little bit where the Phantom comes on. It's like, so it is to be war between us both, whatever the fuck he says.
Yeah.
And then they sing Prima Donna once more. And we all clap and the lights go down. And Esme turns to me and she says, "So is that the end of Act 1?
Yeah.
Keep in mind that chandelier is still swinging above us."
You went chandelier down.
I think she just said chandelier.
So I was like, okay, sorry, I forgot where I was.
I think the specific thing I said to you was, I was like, I would say we're just over 3/4 of the way through,
just over
which I think is.
And I was like, oh god.
I'm constantly torn on this because on the one hand, I feel like it's way further than 3/4 through. Then I think about what you have left to get through, and I'm like, no, it is about 3/4 of the way.
Plot-wise, you've got a lot to get through, but you get through it quite quickly.
It's all very fast paced off that. It's just you have like dialogue and then a pretty long song, a little bit of dialogue and change, a song, a reprise, the chandelier falls, end of Act 1.
I will say that
Act 2 is really short.
Act 2 is really short. I don't know, because there were parts in Act 1 where I was like, oh my god, this is like the pinnacle of musical theatre. This is what like it should be. This is amazing. I'm obsessed. And then like there was like Prima Donna where I was like,
I love the song Prima Donna. Like unironically, I really like it.
Yeah. I will say one of those moments for me was obviously Think of Me. And then
The
What
overture.
was the oh, oh.
I have said multiple times that I had at multiple times genuinely considered
Every time
buying
we
a
walk
ticket.
past Her Majesty's.
I have genuinely considered buying a ticket for the very back row of the balcony, going in, listening to the overture live, and leaving.
Yep.
It's just
Then
incredible.
the Phantom of the Opera, the song, I was like, this is I can't. I was sat there just like on the edge of my seat, mouth open, like there are a couple of theatre moments where I wish someone had had like a camera on my face because I think it would have
Yeah,
been the funniest shit. And we're gonna talk about them like in a bit
soon.
soon. There's one moment in particular where I'm like, someone showed in particular where I'm like, someone should have recorded my reaction and uploaded it because it would have been insane. I was
Um,
so like, what? And then like Wishing as well. I was
best song in the show.
for Lord, Wishing is, I would say, like, if someone were to say to me, Wishing is one of the best musical theatre songs of all time, I'd be like, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it is.
I love Wishing You Were Somehow Here Again. I like, aside from the fact, I think that song is really good. When I was traveling to and from London this weekend, I was really like deeping the lyrics. It's so good.
It's such a good song.
Yeah, then he also told me there's gonna be a part and you can't laugh and you're gonna want to.
It was like right before it started. I was like, Esme, by the way, there's this part in Act One, towards the end of Act One, where you're gonna want to laugh and you can't laugh.
I did want to laugh.
Cannot laugh. Bouquet's body falls during the ballet.
Yeah.
Like his like hanging body falls down from the rafters. It's meant to be a very dramatic moment.
Oh yeah.
The body is so obviously fake, no matter
Yeah.
where you're sitting.
I think it's actually worse
Oh,
being like quite far away because you can just see how fake it is.
bounces.
Yeah.
It doesn't move
No.
at all. And I was like, Esme, you cannot laugh when it falls. You have to like be serious.
And you know, I was actually serious. I feel like we should all be very proud of me for being serious in that moment.
She did very well not laughing.
Thanks, guys.
My
Thanks again.
one problem with this, and I'm going to admit it right now, my ranking of this time we saw Phantom is greatly influenced by the second time I saw Phantom this year,
Yeah,
which
obviously.
is the last show I saw this year. This is a genuine problem I have with so many West End theatres.
Yeah.
And we've avoided it talking about it so far because Bonnie and Clyde was at what, Theatre Royal?
No.
No.
First time we
Yes.
saw it, Drury Lane. Second time was the Garrick.
We had really good seats for the first two musicals we've talked about.
Yeah, like unusually
Well,
good seats for us.
Yeah.
The next couple, not good seats. But
Yeah. And Phantom's the first, like, we can say that it was incredible.
yeah.
Like, the music is incredible, the singing is incredible, all of that. I think
Holly
it's
Ann
an amazing.
Hull as Christine, amazing. I've not seen other Christines, so I can't compare, but amazing.
I have. I've now seen 3 Christines.
Yeah, you've seen 3 completely different Christines, which is quite impressive.
I know. My sister wants to go see it again to see Lily Carehouse.
Lily, yes.
The problem with this time we saw Phantom is that the sound quality in so many West End theatres is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the first time I saw Phantom, which was before this, it was in December of last year.
Yeah.
It was like the 28th of December, 2022.
Yeah.
We had really good seats. They weren't as good as the next time I saw Phantom, but they were really good seats. They were like Royal Circle or something.
Yeah.
They were good seats basically. And I could not hear like half of what was said on that stage.
It was the big moments, like the Wishing, the Phantom, even Music of the Night, which I appreciate live more than I do on the recording, all came across really well.
Yeah.
It was just the smaller, more like moments where I was like, I have no idea.
I think the bits that were really, we were sat right in front of it, well, right next to a speaker, basically.
Yeah.
And so there's this bit where multiple bits actually, where the Phantom's voice travels around the like auditorium. And you could hear it very clearly when it would like get near to you and then go far away.
Yeah.
But I think it's just in so many theatres the sound quality is so bad, and we'll get into it, that you cannot hear what they're saying.
Yes.
And I will talk more about Phantom
soon. Don't you worry.
Don't worry, guys. But controversially for me, the production of Phantom of the Opera that we saw, well, the experience we had on the 5th of April 2023. It's going in A tier.
I think I'm also going to put it in my A tier. First entry to the A tier.
Yeah, it's a really good. I'm definitely influencing Esme in this because I talk about it so much. I think that's my problem is I know so much about it and I look into it so much. I'm like, this is the perfect musical because everything is explained. It's not. The musical's pretty bad in terms of explaining what is happening, but I just know the book. And I tell Esme the plot and you're like, this is such a good musical.
I just think when Phantom's good, it's amazing. So the good moments really outweigh some of the bad moments.
Yeah. Like there are bits where it's bad and it drags a bit, but
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things, I think it's really good.
And I would see it again,
Oh yeah.
happily.
We will. Don't worry. The next show
I
think you
saw.
saw alone.
So I saw the next two shows I actually saw alone with my friend Martha, who we had finished our like end of year assignments. We'd finished our essays for the year. And we're like, let's just go to London and see some shows for cheap. So that's what we did. And the first one was Oklahoma. My story of seeing Oklahoma this first time is first time. Basically, we had decided that we wanted to go and see it because a friend of ours had told us, this is amazing. You guys need to go and see this production. Go and see it. And they had £15 tickets for the day. We were sat in, we were just like gone into London and we were sat in a Pratt and we were like, fuck it, should we just buy them? They're 15 quid each. The show was in 4 hours. And we thought, let's just go, you know? We've heard it's good. And I also knew about the ending. I don't feel bad spoiling it because
It's like the first musical.
it's closed. No, the what's happened in like the production element of it. The ending is obviously Curly shoots Jude, and him and Curly and Laurie are then covered in blood, and then they like have a mini trial almost. That's how you describe it?
Yeah, but it's very much like, well, it was in self-defense, right?
Yeah.
Say it was in self-defense.
They have that conversation and they're covered in blood, and then they all sing Oklahoma again. So they sing the Oklahoma where the wind comes, and like they're covered in blood. And I just thought that image was really cool, and I had to go see it for that reason and that reason only. The entire production, I walked out of it and I was like, I have no idea what to think about that. I slept on it. I wake up the next day and all I want to do is talk about Oklahoma.
She said it, she told me about it. She was like, no, this is my Phantom.
No,
like I need to talk about this.
It wouldn't actually be my Phantom.
I know.
We'll get on to that.
One of the first things you said was, no, this is like my Phantom.
It was so weird. Like
I always remember meeting up with you and Martha afterwards.
Yeah.
And the one thing you said, because Esme was trying to convince me to go and see it. She's like, no, you have to come and see Oklahoma. And the one thing she said, well, I was like, okay, maybe I do need to go see this, was her and Martha were talking, and they were like, oh, and the Freudian ballet sequence. Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah. So the dream ballet is completely like gutted and redone, and the orchestrations are different. Now, one thing about Martha is that she loves ballet. She did ballet for years, and because of that, she loves the dream ballet. And she went, they can do whatever they want to this production of Oklahoma, just don't fuck with the music of the dream ballet. Well, in walks in the electric guitar, and when it was over, I turned to her and I went, Martha, are you okay? She went, yeah.
Did some guy walk out? I remember
Yeah, some guy walked out.
out.
Some guy walked out because there's this part where Ado Annie comes and like sits next to a guy in the front row and sings a part of I Can't Say No at them. And then at the interval, the guy walked out. But like, I really loved all of the little effects of like the microphones, the handheld microphones when something wanted to be extended. Poor Judd is dead.
Yeah.
I remember just walking around central London and just thinking about it for like hours. I had it like on a loop, and the part where the guitar really kicks in. Anyway, all of that being said, Oklahoma's going in A tier.
Wow.
The first time it's going in A tier. Actually, no. First time it's going in B tier. because it took me a moment to come around to it and be like, whoa. And I didn't really understand what was going on. And the Poor John is Dead section is so disorientating if you don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I bet I'm bad. Okay, so at this point, lights are gonna go. It's gonna be pitch black.
I'll get into it more when I talk about when I saw it. I actually could not, in all the blackout bits, I actually could not look at the stage. I had to look at the
emergency.
Yeah, the emergency exit sign.
That's what I looked at every time.
I was like, I actually cannot look at the
can't.
stage.
Yeah, because
I think it's also what they're talking about, because they're talking about a gun.
And so
it's very Chekhov's gun, where it's like, you have a gun in your hand. Are you gonna shoot it? Are you gonna shoot me?
It.
I was like, I was terrified.
It was so effective at making you scared shitless. But then the next show I saw, oh yeah, my friend Martha, she did a ranking of all the shows she'd seen this year, and Oklahoma was her least favorite just because of how badly they fucked up the Dream Ballet, in her opinion.
Honestly, I can respect that.
And I was like, you know what, respect. So then the next show we saw was Matilda. Now Matilda, they do £10 tickets if you are under the age of 25. It's like 16 to 20.
We should see Matilda this Christmas instead. We love Matilda.
We love Matilda. Now, guys, I'm not really gonna get
like a year about going to see Matilda.
I'm not gonna get into my full history of Matilda.
Was Matilda the first musical you saw?
No.
Oh, it was the first musical I saw, like professionally.
The first musical I saw professionally was Andrew Lloyd Webber's Wizard of Oz.
Like on stage?
Yeah.
Andy Fab and day one.
No.
Even I'm not that dedicated.
I just like the TV show Somewhere Over the Rainbow. No, guys, I love Matilda. So yeah, we got £10 tickets. We went, and it was Martha's first time seeing it again, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. I cry every time.
Yeah.
So I saw it once when I was 7, as you did, as we all did,
as we've all done.
We've all done. I can still name you who I saw as Matilda as well. I think I saw like Cleo. It was one of the first original girls.
I just specifically know the girl I saw. I think it was Lara.
Interesting. Yeah.
I just know because she's the same girl that played voiced the main character in 64 Zoo Lane, which was like my favorite TV show.
Mad. I just know. That's insane, actually. Wait, that's insane. And so I'm just gonna say this now. I love the story of Matilda. I have so many thoughts about it. This is so not the time.
Make him quote the beginning of the Matilda movie. Don't do it.
I can quote you the entire movie.
Don't do it now.
We'd be here for like 2 hours.
Please. The amount of times I've heard it.
Well, no, because whenever I say it, people are like, do it, and I'm like, okay.
I'm the opposite. I have to beg her not to.
It's not something that like I'm conscious of that I could do until one day I like watched the film and I was like, oh, I can quote this. So needless to say, massive fan of Matilda. But the parts that I like now as an adult are so completely different from the parts that I liked when I was a child. And I think the part that still always gets me is when I grow up.
See, when I was younger, I was like, I don't get why my mum is crying when I grew up. Like, this is a happy song. And then I listened to it like a year ago.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was within the first week of moving to uni.
Oh.
It just randomly came up on like a shuffle of something I was listening to, and I was like, oh my god. I was like crying in my room.
Yeah, I had a moment the other day. I was really hungry and I'd been to the shop, obviously like it was all like ingredients and stuff I needed to make. But I also bought, those like 70p bag of sweets, whatever. It was like those lips and teeth. I bought those and I was like, I could just eat them. Now as I'm walking down the street, who's gonna stop me? I'm grown up. Aww. And I thought about that line of I will eat sweets every day, and I was just like,
way to work and I will go
I think I was literally on my way. I think I was literally on my way to come back here and do like uni work, and so I was like, I had a moment of, oh my god, Tim Mitchell, you little bitch.
We will get into it.
We will get into it.
Oh my god.
When I call Tim Mitchell a little bitch, it's because of like how much he makes me feel my emotions.
I love Matilda. I'm gonna say, I don't know where you're gonna put it. If it's below B tier, I'll kill you.
No, it has to be B tier because nothing will ever be as special as the first time I saw it. Because I also love the book. I have very vivid memories of reading the book for the first time. Again, I don't think Roald Dahl's a good person in any way, sense or form.
No.
My thought has always been the musical is a much more faithful adaptation of the book than the movie ever is. The movie is its own thing, it's very Americanized, and so seeing almost a return to form in the musical for the first time was such a big thing for me. So yeah, that's Matilda. It was cheap, it was amazing, and like stuff like Quiet, I've only grown to appreciate more and more every single time.
It's such an incredible musical, and the kids are so talented. Like,
The
I cannot sing as well
kids,
as half of those kids.
those kids are some of the most talented, like it's insane. The fact that those Matildas who are like
It's
8 years
so
old
crazy though that
are
like
doing that.
growing up in London, I know at least two people who have either been or auditioned for Matilda.
I've known kids who have auditioned and got very far in the process.
I know one person who's been Matilda, I think. I don't actually remember if she was actually Matilda or she just got really far in the audition
I
process.
know people who've got to the finals, but it was a
Yeah.
thing. It was really annoying because we were too tall by the time
Yeah.
Matilda got to
But I've
casting
always been
that way.
I actually never wanted to be Matilda. I always wanted to be Lavender.
I would have, you know, and I would have killed a bitch to be Matilda.
I know. Let's put on our own production. You can be Matilda.
Yes.
I'll be Lavender and
Is
every other character as well.
but yeah, love Matilda. I will be revisiting it for years to come. More of my deep existential thoughts on it when we do an episode on it. Okay, again.
All together.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
17th of June 2023. As you can see, I took a bit of a gap between seeing musicals.
Well, yeah, you were
5th of
yeah,
April to 17th of June.
you were at university.
I actually wasn't. I had all of April off. I was at home.
Oh yeah,
Oh, I went to visit my dad.
you went away. You were
That's where I
away.
was. That's where I was. So I went into this viewing of Oklahoma, only knowing what Esme had told me.
I told you a lot.
Oh yeah. I think I have no idea what the original Oklahoma was like.
I have some vague idea, but I don't want to see original Oklahoma. I want to see
I can
weird
imagine,
Oklahoma.
yeah, I can imagine what it would be like.
Yeah.
But this one is just so fucking insane. I don't really know what else to say on it. It's fucking crazy.
It's batshit.
The blackouts were like they made me feel like I was going insane.
Yeah, and that's the point.
Yeah. I think it does what it set out to do really well.
Yeah.
I remember specifically we saw it
Mhm.
because we went to West End Live.
Yes, this is what we
Horrific experience at West End Live. It took us like 4 hours to get in.
I'm so intrigued to see what they're gonna do next year.
Yeah. We also actually didn't get into
We didn't
West End
get
Live. We were still in the queue
oh, in the queue, yeah.
when we chose to leave.
I was being a hater.
Yeah. We saw Oklahoma perform, and then Ezra was like, "Do you want to see Oklahoma?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I guess at some point." I was like, "Do you want to see Oklahoma tonight?"
Yeah.
It was probably about 2 p.m.
Yeah.
and it was going to be on at like 7:30. So we had a bit of time to kill. We walked to the museums.
Yes.
We walked around a museum. We walked back. We got lunch from, I believe, an M&S.
No, we got lunch from the Burger King and then we went to an M&S.
And then we went and saw Oklahoma. I think it was good.
Yeah.
But I don't feel particularly sad it closed.
No, I don't feel sad it's closed.
I don't think there was ever a question that it was going to close. It could not have stayed on long.
I
People
don't
hated
think
it.
it's not designed to stay on long. It's so weird.
Yeah. I did like how they completely revamped the theatre though with all the wood.
And the guns.
That was fun. The guns. I think yeah, the ending was really cool. I like the costuming.
Yeah.
I like the song. My favorite song was definitely I Can't Say No.
Banger of a tune, yep.
Right.
They completely changed the score as well, like the vocal
Yeah.
of the score, and made it a lot more like natural sounding, which I really enjoy. I like the
Yeah.
arrangements.
I told my mum about it because she actually really likes Oklahoma, the original.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think you really need to go and see it. But they have changed it a lot from what I assumed the original was. And she was like, oh, well, as long as they haven't gotten rid of the Sorry with the Fringe on top.
They
'Cause
haven't.
that's my favorite song. I was like, they haven't. I just don't know if it's like how it was in the original. That was my problem. I was like, you're obviously supposed to like Curly.
Oh yes,
Is that
this is
his
it.
name?
Yeah,
Like,
Curly.
you're meant to like him over Judd.
Because he's the
There's this
character
kind
that
of this
Hugh
fake,
Jackman played.
yeah. There's kind of this fake love triangle where it's not really a love triangle because there's never really a question of who she's gonna end up with.
Yeah.
But I can assume that you're meant to really like Curly. Like he's meant to be like charismatic and fun.
Yeah.
And there's Judd who's a bit of a weirdo.
Yeah.
And Laurie's obviously very much like, I don't need a man.
Laurie
ends
is
up
a lot more feminist than in any other version in this one.
like she has a song which
Many a New Day.
what's it called? She also had it was a line she had. Yeah, there's many a new day.
People will say We're in Love is also bad opportunity.
Yeah. And she had a line when I think the salesman character, I don't remember the name of.
Oh, yeah, no, he's literally referred to as the salesman.
Yeah. But he came back and he offered her like a gift of something that he had found longest travel. And he was like, don't you want anything? And she was like, I would love a new dress, like all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the lines really was, but it was like a very strong woman character line. I also love that salesman character.
The peddler.
His yeah.
From Persia.
But like it's a scandal, it's an outrage song. Fucking loved it.
It did a lot with
I
I can't say I'd ever see a production of Oklahoma. I can't say I would have gone out of my way to see Oklahoma as much if it wasn't done in this style.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm really glad I saw it.
Yeah.
Once was enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing like I understand why like someone like you went to go and see it again and again.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you could go and see it 20 times and notice something different every time or understand it more every time.
Or something of
But
them.
I've seen it once and that was enough.
That is fair enough. Something like them opening the beer cans was really choreographed and really pleasing to me.
Yeah, I like the set how often everyone was on stage.
Yeah, and they were just staring at each other. Daniel Fish, you did a very good job with this production.
Yeah.
Well done, my mans.
But for me, no disrespect, obviously.
Go
I think it
yeah.
was a really good production.
Yeah.
But it's going and see it.
Fair enough.
I've seen it. I'm glad I've seen it. I would not have seen it if Esme hadn't badgered me to, and I would not go to see it again.
Fair enough. I mean,
But
there's a show I'm looking at right now where
oh yeah. But if like tomorrow it was announced that this specific production of Oklahoma had a pro shot and it was being released for free, I'd be like, oh, 100%, I'll watch that because it's free and I can pause it when I feel like it.
And you don't have to sit in silence and darkness for 10 minutes.
But if you're like, tomorrow, this production of Oklahoma is coming back, but you have to pay £20 for a ticket, I'd be like, I'm fine. I've seen it. I
wouldn't see it again. I know.
I think I can appreciate it. If a clip came up, I would watch it. When a song comes up, maybe I'll listen to it. I don't need to see it again.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to it quite a bit actually because I think the arrangements are genuinely very good and they lean a lot more country and folksy than the original ones do, which is more just like if I'm in the mood to listen to Oklahoma, that's what I want to listen to. If I want to listen to something grand and orchestral, I'll listen to a Phantom, I'll listen to the Night in the Piazza. So that's where I feel, oh god.
Where are you putting it?
Oh, I'm putting it in A tier because it was my favorite time seeing it because I was able to take a step back and like really look at what I wanted to.
That's good. I can respect that.
On like what I wanted to like, there were questions that I had about it, so I was able to like go in and like pick out tiny little bits. Oh god!
I forgot you saw Heathers.
I forgot I
had a bit of a bad run of musicals.
Oh, just the next two, and then we're back. I wouldn't say it's bad. It was more personal this time. Like my feelings around it had really shifted.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to explain how I feel about this because
we got through a ton of it in the Heathers episode.
Yeah, and I think my sadness that I felt when seeing it was an amazing production. Everyone in it was obviously mega, mega, mega talented. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to go saying goodbye. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I did look around at the end and went, this needs to end. I need this needs to be done here. This needs to move
Yeah.
on. This can't keep going on. And there was some sadness in that. I think it was the same sadness that I felt when we finished recording the first Heather's episode. Like we finished recording that
Yeah.
and I was like, I feel really sad now. I don't have to say this. It was almost like saying goodbye to my teenage years in this really strange way.
I've seen Heather's once, like literal years ago.
That was normal.
Probably like 5 years ago now.
More than that. It'd scare you.
Something ridiculous like that. But I saw it, I'm glad I saw it, but I don't know. I don't care enough.
I'm glad I saw it one more time with it, and I'm glad, like, I wonder sometimes in the Heaven episode, especially part 2, if people think I hate it, and I don't. I just deeply love it,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm mean about it.
I think it's the thing for me, I'm glad that you saw it then rather than right before it actually closed.
Yes, I got to say goodbye on my own terms. I got to be like, I'm done.
Yeah, because I think it was a lot better than feeling like you had to say goodbye right before it closed because you wouldn't get another chance to see it again. Whereas seeing it when you did, you were like, yeah, I'm done with it. And then it closed.
Because I said
that was it.
I said to you before they announced it was properly closing, I was like, I'm done, it needs to go. So yeah, those are my very, very brief thoughts on when I saw Heathers the most recent time. Because we've talked Heathers to death.
Where are you putting it?
Oh, see. Nothing against the actual production. It was just more my personal feelings.
But now something against an actual production.
It is time, ladies. And
12th of July 2023. We became haters.
Well, the story starts before then.
When did we meet up when we went to fucking we went to Camden?
No, we didn't go Camden. It was when we went to Spitalfields.
It was Camden around that time.
Yeah, we didn't discover how weird Operation Mincemeat was till after then. It was the 6th of July. 6th of July at 4:30, because here's the photo that I took of the Fortune Theatre.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it was still light at 4:30. How strange.
6th of July, 2023. We're out together. We're at, I believe, a little Mexican restaurant.
It was really nice in there.
A really nice restaurant. We were eating, we were drinking.
We weren't actually drinking alcohol. We were just
a refreshing like soda.
Yeah, it was like some orphan. It was like Mexican soda, so it was like good.
Yeah, when Esme was like,
no, we're just like naming shows that we want to go see.
Yeah, I think one of us, probably me, to be honest.
It was you.
Was on TikTok, and we were going through this specific guy's theatre review account because he reviews a lot of shows, and we like his reviews. We think they're funny, and we just think they're informative.
I think he's hilarious.
We find his review for Operation Mincemeat, this new musical. And I look at it and I'm like, oh, he gave it 5 stars. And I say, oh, it's like paid. Like it's a paid review. And we're like, you know what? Fine. He's done other paid reviews and he's given them 5 stars. And we've not seen those shows, but I can assume they're okay. But I believe this was the guy who hated either Once on This Island?
He hated Once on This Island, and he also hated Bake Off.
Yeah. And to be honest, I do kind of understand people who hate Bake Off. I don't agree with them, and I do think they're wrong. Yeah, I can understand where they're coming from.
100%.
I get how you could hate Once on This Island. Like I don't properly listen to Once on This Island. I think I've listened to it once or twice properly. I don't get how you could hate it.
I was listening to one song today, and I was like, oh, I should probably give this a proper listen because it's Aaron and Clarity.
I can get it not being your style, or maybe even disliking it. I don't get hating.
I can get like personal.
The plot is shit.
I can get like personal reasons for not liking it.
Yeah.
Like with most musicals, I can get personally not liking it.
But so he was like, he had this review that was 5 stars for Operation Mincemeat, but paid.
Yeah.
And like, so that's probably not entirely accurate. We then went and I believe looked at some other accounts that we knew who reviewed shows.
Yeah, and we're like starting to try and get a feel for this show because the marketing, it has a couple of posters in central London and that's it.
Yeah, but it was like we were looking, we're like, where the hell even is this? Like, what theatre is this in? And then we found out it was in the Fortune. And we're like, oh.
And that's where Women in Black was.
And so we're looking around, and basically all of the reviews we can find, and we're, to be fair to what we're going to say about why we went to go and see it properly, was we were only really looking on TikTok. And all of the reviews were basically either someone saying that their friend or someone they knew was in this or was a part of like the production of it, and it was really good. You should go and see it to support them,
And
or if it was paid.
they had been following it. It was a bit like, I don't know, I think I've described it on here as it almost being like the Hamilton thing of like, oh, I saw it at the public and it's been so nice to see it grow. It's like you can't have all have
Yeah.
seen it on this tiny like if you went to the Southwark Playhouse, you can't have all seen it in the Southwark Playhouse.
Yeah, but everyone seemed to have some kind of personal connection to it when they were
And
talking
no
about
one
it.
had seen it just once. For a show that just
Yeah,
opened, no one had
everyone was
seen it
seeing it
just once.
10 times.
Yes.
And so you're like, okay, well, let's look at tickets. Let's find, some 20 quid tickets for the
So
back row, and
my
we'll go
first
and
thought
see
is
it.
Today Tex. I love Today Tex. They have funded most of the theatre trips on here.
Yeah,
Cheap. Massive fans. We go on there. I'm like, it's not on Today Tex. That's strange for a new musical written by people who have never written a musical in their lives.
yeah. So I go on ATG and I go on their site and I go to the Operation Mincemeat bit and I'm like, okay, Esme, give me a date. What date shall we go and see Operation Mincemeat? And we're half joking. And she's like, tonight.
Yeah.
So I look tonight and it's basically entirely sold out. There's maybe like one ticket there.
Yeah.
And it was for like 60 quid
And so at this
at the
point,
back at the back of the theatre. And I was like, you know what, that's fair. If you have one ticket left, you're selling out. Charge 60 quid for it. It's fine.
at that point, I'm like getting myself on their website, working out if they have like discounts available, who wrote it, who produced it, all of this sort of stuff. And I'm looking
Yeah.
around and I'm like, what is going on?
And I keep looking at different dates, like going forward, like one day at a time. And the thing we both kind of pieced together is that these tickets are straight priced.
Yeah.
In that, if you are sitting in the front row of the audience or at the very back of the balcony, you are paying the exact same price.
Yeah.
Which at the time that we were looking at ranged anywhere from about 40 quid to like 90 quid. Nowadays, when you look at it, it's all about 90 quid. It's ridiculous.
It's batshit.
And we were like, you know what, maybe this is just like a thing on the website. Sometimes they charge. We were like, okay, what if we go to the theatre in person? Because sometimes you can get discounts if you go to the box office.
And I'm like, is it just like heavily tourists who buy on the day? And because I'm looking at it and they're doing like a lot of family discounts and like big groups, they're encouraging people to come in big groups. And so it's like, oh, okay. Is it just like you come to the box office or you buy in a big group and it's cheaper? I am like, there is no way in hell that they are selling out this theatre for this price for like normal people.
Yeah, for like weeks at a time. Like every night we look at, there are very few seats available.
Yeah.
And that's why we're thinking, surely it's not straight priced.
Yeah.
Because it's surely just that they have so few seats available, they feel like they can jack up the price.
Oh yeah.
Which isn't great. Like I hate when that happens and stuff, but it makes sense. It's a business move, fine.
Business 101, supply and demand.
Yeah. And so we go to like the West End, we go to the Fortune Theatre. In a feat of confidence that I have not displayed since, I walk into the Fortune Theatre box office and I say hi there to the lady working. She was lovely. A lovely lady working at the box office. She was very nice. And she's like, hi, what can I do for you? I was like, I'm just wondering about if you have any tickets available for Operation Mincemeat. And she was like, oh yeah, sure. When are you thinking? I was like, oh, I don't really mind. I was just wondering like what the cheapest tickets you had available were. And she's like, oh, I'm really sorry. We only do one price.
Yes.
So they're all the same price wherever you're sitting.
And then she's like, oh, you guys can like enter the lottery. And so I was like, oh. Okay, so you have a lottery, but I'm looking online and it only runs every 2 weeks. And you guys aren't at TKTS, only selling them through here. What's going on?
But we're like, okay, thank you so much for your help.
We didn't say any of this in front of this woman, though.
Yeah,
we're very
nice.
Like,
oh, thank you so much. We'll look into it. Thank you. And we leave. We're walking down the street and we say, what the fuck is going on?
I think we get out of earshot of this poor woman and go, what the fuck?
But it was fucking insane. So I go home and I mentioned to my mum, we were like, oh, we've seen this show called Operation Mincemeat. It's ridiculous. The prices are insane and they're doing straight pricing and it's sold out every night.
Yeah.
And I think as a joke, I say, me and Esme have to know what's going on in there.
I post on my spam Instagram, does anyone know what's going on at Operation Mincemeat? If you do, contact me or Nell.
We wanted to know because something was happening there. And my mum's
And
like,
at this point, we've also clocked onto the fact that their big marketing thing is 65 5-star reviews.
yeah, they have a poster where they keep crossing out the like number and then upping it
Yeah,
because they have a ton of 5-star reviews.
they're so cool.
That's so cool.
Get fucked.
I tell my mum that we want to go and see it, kind of jokingly, because we, you know, and
We
she
don't
buys
have
us
mums.
2 tickets.
Yeah.
Massive shout out to my mum. She
Shout out
pays.
to Nell's mum.
She literally tells me I found the cheapest night they had possible.
Yeah.
It was still 40 quid each.
Yeah.
I was like, thank you. You're so nice. And so we go and see it.
So we are walking, it's now the 12th of July. We get there kind of early because we're gonna go get some food and then we're gonna go to the theatre early and suss out the vibe. The entire night we are joking that this is investigative journalism. As we're walking through Leicester Square, we notice there's a lot of pink. And then we're walking down one of the roads out of Leicester Square and we see this woman in a really nice pink dress. And we don't know who she is. We're just
But
sick
we're
ass
complimenting her dress.
pink
We're like, that's
dress.
a really nice dress. She looks really nice in that dress.
Molly
She's
May.
glaring at us. She's giving us the stink eye. It was Molly May.
It was Molly May. And
we went to the Barbie premiere.
At the we accidentally stumbled upon the Barbie premiere when we went to go see Operation Mincemeat, which I feel like just really adds to the story.
We then went to go see it. We turned up about 7.
Yeah,
maybe
the show's at
6:30
7.
but it probably wasn't quite 6:30.
No, because we got caught up in the Barbie premiere and getting dirty looks from Molly May.
It was within an hour of the opening. We turned up to the theatre, it is empty.
Empty.
There is not a single person there.
It's deserted.
Every show we've gone to, whether we've turned up an hour before or 5 minutes before, there have been people in the theatre. And there was no one.
Most of the time there's a slight queue outside.
So we went and we got a drink. We got vodka and cokes. We were like, we're gonna need it. We go to the bathroom. There's no one else in there. And we say, what the hell is happening here? What's going on?
We're like, this is got to be a money laundering scheme.
Like, this is not real. We see it.
People show up though. People do show up.
People do show up. It's packed. It's ridiculous.
It's okay. It's so as we were traveling there, we were playing a fun game of I don't know how to describe it. We were just saying things that we thought would happen.
So I bought the program because I was like, I need a program to prove I went.
So I'm saying there's going to be a song in the style of 6. They're going to tell this joke. The third song is going to be such a stereotypical "I want" song with the words "I want" in it.
We looked at the list of songs and we were like, okay, what do we think? What kind of vibes are we assuming? Let me get out the song list so I can explain what exactly. Yeah, okay. I think it was "Dead in the Water" is going to be an "I want" song.
Yes.
I think you specifically said they subscribe to Sondheim, and so the third song
they subscribe to the Sondheim belief so hard that the third song is going to be the "I want" song. I
said I think that the Act 2 opener, Das Übermensch, is going to be a rapid change of pace, and then it's going to disappear.
They're going to rap for a bit, and try and be like Hamilton.
We did not ever say they were going to rap. That was the shock for us.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
We were just saying it was going to be a change of pace.
I said there was going to be a song like 6.
And then I said that the finale is there's going to be "We Did It," which is a final song. And then I think it's specifically, and then they're going to say, well, now we need a big finale.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go into the song finale. That is exactly what happened, by the way. I'm proud of myself for noticing. So firstly, to be kind of fair, I'm going to go through the good bits. Number 1, Making a Man. By far, I would say, the best song in the musical.
Personally, I prefer the Sailor song, but that's just personal opinion.
I also love Sailor Boys. I think it's really good.
I will say Making a Man is that, and Making a Man, Sailor Boys and Making a Man are the only 2 parts that I've revisited.
I also really enjoyed Just for Tonight.
Yeah.
The actual I think this is something that they talk about. If you read in the interviews they talk a lot about how when the show was first created, this kind of critique of the government was just seen as comedy. It was, haha, look, the government don't know what they're doing. But now it feels very real. And so Just for Tonight, they only have 5 actors, which I think is very incredible.
Yes.
It's very fun to watch. These 5 actors switch between 20 different roles.
It is very sleek.
They have so they're all playing different roles, and they have one of their roles in Just for Tonight be the government officials they're playing, the MI5 people. And they're partying at a nightclub. Quite literally, they are partying.
They're in the nightclub.
The lines are Just for Tonight, we'll be heroes, we've won, we've done everything we can, we'll celebrate, we've won. switching to the sailors who have just sung Sail On Boys.
Yeah, it's this juxtaposition that's done actually really
Yeah.
well.
Firstly, seeing like German submarine. It's set in World War II. I don't know if we've mentioned that or if anyone knows. It's set in World War II. And it's about a real thing that happened in World War II called Operation Mincemeat. Towards the end of World War II, the Allied forces wanted to invade mainland Europe, which was widely occupied by the Nazis. They wanted to do this by invading basically through Italy.
Yeah.
But Italy was occupied very heavily by Nazis and by the Axis powers, which Italy was a part of at the point. And so they planned to invade through Sicily, which is a little island off the coast of Italy. But Sicily was covered with Nazi soldiers. So they faked a plan where they took a dead body, just a random dead body, dressed him up as a British soldier, made a ton of fake documents, ton of pocket litter. So these a picture of his fiance, who was fake and was one of the characters in the musical Jean, like receipts for dates that they had been on, a receipt for an engagement ring. All
they like made this person,
which is what Making a Man is about, and it's a really good song for that. And they have this bit at the end of it where all 5 of them are stood in a line and they have a space in the middle and they hold a hat and a briefcase in front of it to create the silhouette of a man who doesn't exist.
Yes.
And it's a very incredible thing. They make it, and then they send him in a submarine to just off the coast of Sicily. They basically zip tie this briefcase to his wrist, which inside of it has plans detailing the Allied invasion of Sardinia, an island kind of next to Sicily, with the hope that German forces will find this, read it, and say, we need to move all of our troops off Sicily and into Sardinia in order
we were meant to see this.
Yeah, we've got an in, they've leaked information to us. And when they do that, then the Allied force will be able to invade through Sicily.
The British and the Allies will finally be able to make significant progress in the war, which they had been able to do up until that point.
Yeah. And spoilers, it all works out. They go through a bit of mishaps where things go wrong, but it all works out. Their plan works perfectly.
Basically, they have this plan, shenanigans ensue.
And so just for tonight is this mix between the government people celebrating that they've done their plan, they just have to wait for it to work, and the sailors who basically unpack this dead body and have to float it out to sea, and they have no idea who he is.
They have no idea why they're being told to do this, and they're not allowed to ask questions.
Yeah, and so I like that juxtaposition of the government are just celebrating that they think they've won, whereas the real people are left to deal with the fallout of their choices. The British humor and anti-American jokes, that it was very, very British. It appeals to a British audience, which is why it's weird that tourists will go and see it. They won't like it. It's very British.
It's so fucking British, man.
I like the song Useful. I think it's one of the best songs in the musical as well.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll talk about its bad bits. I don't mind Act As If. I do have a problem with it, but we'll get into it. Towards the end of Act 2, when for some reason they suddenly bring out every special effect that they have installed in the theatre that have not been seen previously.
Yeah, because it's very low tech until that point.
And there's something like Act As If You Will When You Won't. The other thing, which I think is the single best part of the musical, is the ending, and not just because it meant the musical was over. Lyndall Michael is the name of the dead body that they used, and basically for years they had no idea who he was. They just took this random body and sent him out. They knew nothing about him. They eventually found him, and they do this whole bit at the end where they explain who Lyndall Michael was.
They drop the fourth wall.
And then they explain, they have a plaque for him on the beach where he washed up, because he's basically the man who won the war, but no one had any idea who he was.
And there's a lot. It says they briefly talk about the ethical issues of this man, of using this dead body.
And they talk about it a little bit during the musical.
Yeah, no, because there's that.
So who in Making a Man? They're like, so who was he? Who was who?
You need to make sure he doesn't have any relatives. That's all they get into.
Yeah. And then they basically say what's on the plaque that he has, which is for Lyndall Michael, the man who never was. Yes. And then they end it where they play the sound of waves as if on a beach, and they have a starry night sky playing upon them. And it's such a good ending. It's like, I genuinely got goosebumps. I felt like I was gonna cry.
It is the best ending a show like that could have had. And it would have been such a good way for it to go out. And especially because in something like, I think it's useful, they talk a lot about how the war has so many people that are contributing to it in a very meaningful way, but will never get their remembrance. So Jean, Leslie, and Hester are 2 people who are like the same. in kind of the same
Yeah.
position. I don't know. Is the show drawing parallels between them? I'm not entirely sure, but it would have been such a good way of like honoring those who are a bit more forgotten. And then no,
Yeah, this is one of the things I had like the biggest problem with. I've described it as opening too many doors. They
exactly.
start with all of these connections between people, like the whole thing that Charles Chumley, who's like the main character, kind of the main character,
He has the
he's
I
the one
Want
who comes
song.
up with the plan. It's called Dead in the Water, and the whole point is that they leave Gwyndor dead in the water.
Yes.
They draw all of these links. They have like the open, not even the opening line, but one of the beginning lines in the song Born to Lead, I think
Yeah.
is so you want to be a pilot, but you never learned to fly. You want to be a sailor, never got to try it, or whatever it is. And they made Glyndor pilot his fake man. I forget his name, but the fake man they made him was a pilot who then drowned in the sea.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He crashed into sea.
They,
That's how his body.
yeah, they create all of these connections between people. All of the doors they open with all of the two female characters
Yeah.
that they then just leave.
Yeah.
And I would understand if they were trying to do a, hey, isn't this unsatisfactory? Why don't we do something about this? Why was the government like this for so many years?
Also,
But they don't.
they talk a lot. Like, I think at one point it's mentioned that Chumley and the other one, the other Ian Montague,
In Montague, yeah.
they get honored. They get honored in this very big, meaningful way. And at one point, Jean Leslie says, or Hester Leggett, I don't know. They all blur
Whatever.
together in my mind.
Yeah.
One of the women say, "Oh, it's I." One of them's annoyed because they won't get any recognition, and the other one, who's a bit older, says, "I don't do this, but a nice little plaque will be enough." And they
Yeah.
never go back to that. They just kind of throw it out there. They're like, "Isn't it sad that women aren't remembered?" Anyway, time to do a tap dance on the side of a wing.
There are so many points where I was like, oh, this could be really good. I went into this really wanting to like it because of how many 5-star reviews it got, because of how many people loved it and were going back to go see it. I wanted to like it.
Like my standards were high, yes,
Yeah.
but that's because I'd just seen 65 5-star reviews.
Yeah.
And the ticket price was high. And so I was like, okay, they have to earn it. But even if they hadn't, even if I didn't have those expectations, I still feel like I would have been disappointed.
It's one of those things. I wish we had gone into Mincemeat how we went into Bake Off, which was with
Yes.
very low standards. Would I like Mincemeat in that way? Absolutely not. I don't think I will ever like it.
No.
But I would have gone into it thinking, you know what? It was okay. At points, it was funny. I liked some of the songs.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun at points, but I don't really like it. But because we went into it thinking it had to be great, there's this guy on TikTok called All That
I'll
Jazz.
put a link in the description.
He's actually, if anyone's interested, by the way, he's actually really good. He does reviews of theatre, but with a focus on the sensory aspects.
mm,
So he's like, there's flashing lights. There's like he reviewed for Sunset Boulevard that there's a lot of staring into the audience.
yes.
It's just a very different type of review, and it's very good and very interesting. I would recommend him. If you have sensory issues or are worried about anything like that,
Or
go to
if you're
his
just
channel. Very good.
interested.
Yeah. But him in his review of Mincemeat, in his caption, he said a bit that I took a screenshot of because I thought it very nearly summed up all of my thoughts,
Yeah.
which was, I do feel that Operation Mincemeat is a victim of its own success, though. Make no mistake, this is a solid show with a fantastic cast and lots of funny moments.
Yeah.
But it's not my new hyperfixation show. I'm not completely obsessed, and I don't know why. I wish I saw this show in its earlier days, because when a show receives as much praise as Mincemeat, and when he was writing this, 58 5-star reviews currently, so it's gone up since then, people will visit the show expecting a masterpiece in modern theatre. That said,
Yes.
Mincemeat is still a really enjoyable night out at the theatre, and I'd absolutely recommend it to friends. I wouldn't agree with that last bit. Recommended friends don't go.
I was talking to a friend about it, one who I see quite a bit of theatre with and I trust a lot. And she was saying my parents want to go see it. And I went, and she was like, do you think I should go see it? And I was like, no, you need to go see it. If there is someone willing to buy you a ticket, go see it so that we could discuss it.
I think the other thing we said a lot was we talk a lot about Star Kid and how much we love Star Kid and like Tin Can Bros and all that stuff. This felt like a rip-off of Spies Are Forever.
Yeah. We walked out of there and went, someone should put on Spies Are Forever. We'd love that here.
Like the thing is, they have the Nazis come on a few times, which is a great sentence to say.
It's
They
so
come on,
Weird.
They have like bedazzled swastikas.
Yeah,
It's
that
fucking insane.
that was where, and
Um,
I was like, I don't know what we're saying about this symbol of hate.
yeah, and there's been I watched and I was specifically like, this is just a Spies Are Forever ripoff.
Mm.
Is that they have this Nazi song as the opening of Act 2, that's even mentioned.
Yeah,
And then they have the character playing
maybe.
the like boss character of
Yeah, I
them
know who you're on about.
come on and shout at the audience, whose side are
Mm.
you on? The exact same thing happens in Spies Are Forever, where they have a song called Not So Bad, where the Nazis are singing Nazis are not so bad. Don't take that out of context.
No one clip it.
And then they get like the audience to join in,
Yeah.
and then the audience sings it, the characters on stage talk, and then out of character, one of the actors shouts, "What is wrong with you people?" I think it was better to have it be out of character and not a character saying this, because then when a character says it, it seems like it's just
The
part of the
show.
story.
Yeah.
Whereas Spider Forever, it was a critique of, hey, this is a show, don't support Nazis.
I think you could have not had a single Nazi on stage and the show not be different. That
Yeah,
was
there's
my
also again,
that's my thing with it.
there's also this again links to the problem of just the sound design in theaters.
Oh my god, that
It
sound
just
design was shit.
it was you could not hear like half the things they were saying. They have this bit at the end in a glitzy finale
Yeah.
where they have one American character who's in it for like 2 songs. He has the same first name as the fake man they design,
Yeah.
and he also crashes
Like,
on. They wash up in Spain. I
yes.
remember now because it's sangria. They don't wash up in Italy; they wash up in Spain, which has a ton of Nazi spies. That's the thing. He also crashes off the coast of Spain and washes up on shore. He has the same first name. He comes back in the glitzy finale in a plane, which, by the way, we hadn't seen before.
Yeah, the plane came
This
out of
plane
nowhere.
just showed up, and he was there, and he had 2 Nazis dancing on the wings in bedazzled costumes.
And it was like one moment it's like dee, 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 aren't we happy? Aren't we like glad?
Yeah.
And then
we've won the war, we've won the war. The Nazis came out. The
what?
joke was this American guy was singing, like, oh, hey, look at these guys. They lost the war, but they're not unhappy. They can come and join me in America. And then
Yeah.
the 2 Nazis would sing, Make America Great Again. That was the joke. It was a critique of Donald Trump's America and how it was basically a neo-Nazi state.
Yeah.
You could not hear that. You couldn't hear what they were saying.
Yeah.
So they just had 2 dancing Nazis who came on and sang and then laughed.
It was one moment it was a spy Montague has got a spy movie, and then the next moment Nazism.
Nazis.
Also, where are all
Yeah.
these fucking set pieces?
So there was basically nothing in the first act. They had like a few very minimal pieces. The biggest set we saw was when they went down to the docks to deliver the plans of transporting Gwendolyn Michael off the coast to let him wash ashore. That was the time we saw the biggest set because they just had a ton of different like ship pieces.
And it made sense. And it was
sense. It was great.
Like, also the characters are meant to feel out of place in that setting.
Yeah. And then suddenly 2 starts. They had a swastika projected onto the back of the stage that was spinning around. I mentioned it earlier. They had this song called Act As If, where they suddenly used a ton of like light effects and stuff like that. In a glitzy finale, a set of stairs came out.
And they were
just suddenly
running up and down the stairs. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Just suddenly had everything. That's not even necessarily a bad thing if it made sense.
It was just so out of left field. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, Dear Bill is too long. Basically, a ton of reviews we saw before we went in. We didn't listen to it or try to like find out anything about it. We just saw.
At that point, it was like, I'm seeing it soon. I may as well just go with an open mind.
And like half of them.
That's what I did with Phantom, and I had a good time.
Yeah. And some stuff was about this song Dear Bill, where everyone's like, I cried, I sobbed, this is the best song in the musical, so that. And I was like, okay. The Hester Leggett character started singing. It
was Dear Bill, and then it was like Metamorphosis with the 2 songs where people were like, I cried. It's the saddest thing ever. I love it so much. And so I was like, okay, like I love a sad song. We'll get into it.
I actually really enjoyed Dead in the Water. I still think it's a pretty good song. I think it's a fun song. It's fine.
It's not for me.
But the song is like 6 minutes long. And within the first 2 minutes,
You kind of get the point.
you know what the twist is. Basically, she's explaining how you write a love letter.
Yeah.
Because they want to create a fake love letter from Pam, his fake fiance, that he carries with him about all of their plans for after the war. And I believe the line she maybe she says it right after, but she's like, "This is not the first war some of us have lived through."
Yes, I was about to say that's a really interesting point that they've brought up there. Not going to do anything about it.
They just bring it up. But she basically sings a song and she's pretending that that's the guy's name, by the way. Bill is the fake man they come up with, and she's singing it, and you realize, oh, she had a fiance or a husband who died in the First World War. You realize that very quickly. For the next about 4 minutes, that's not going to be brought up. And then in the last minute, she suddenly slips up and she says like Ted instead of Bill. And it's meant to be this big reveal. It's like, no.
And it's like,
it was pretty self-explanatory. It's like, I'm not saying it's a bad song. It's like, I think it is a nice song. I get why people like it.
I think a cut version of it could be very good and very effective and very interesting. Does it need to be 6 fucking minutes long? No.
If they had done more with it, like if it had been an actual song where she was left alone on stage.
Yeah.
But she's just singing it to two people who are writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
It feels really impersonal, which I guess is a part of it, that they're giving up their personal lives to try and win the war.
Yeah.
But it's all of this stuff, when I'm like, I guess it's this, or I could see how it's this, you have to read into it so much.
You have to read into it
for a musical.
I know, we love over-analysing stuff.
I'm not going to say a musical should make you think, but I think it's fun when a musical does make you think, or any story makes you think and be like, this represents this, or this means this.
Mm-hmm. The thing with Mincemeat is that you have to put so much work into it to get it to be a good musical, when you can't just look at it and go, it slaps. Because I've heard the score 10 billion times before.
Yeah. The thing for me is I'm fine with anyone having a different opinion on theatre to me. Like, I will say I love Phantom. And I know so many people who are like, I hate Phantom, it's like the worst show ever. And I'm like, you know what? Fair. It's not your style.
When I was having a conversation with my friend, I was like, even if you like it, then I need to hear your opinions. Because I respect your opinions and I know you can formulate a good argument.
We had I was saying that one of our friends was talking about going to see it. And I was like, I want them to go and see it, because if they like it, I have so much respect for it then. Because it's not just that, a bunch of people like it and they shouldn't, and it's just a weird psyche thing. There is clearly something good about it, I just can't see it.
I've not seen anyone... My thing with Mincemeat is I've not seen anyone formulate a reason why they like it, other than it's funny, it's amazing. Why?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm fine with everyone having a different opinion to me. I will always understand that I'm gonna love shows that everyone else hates, or I'm gonna hate shows that everyone else loves. The thing I have with Mincemeat is I sent Esme this TikTok of someone ranking the shows they'd seen that year, and they ranked that they hated Mincemeat. And I made a joke being like, oh,
we're growing.
I can accept that they ranked also Phantom really low. And I was like, I can accept the Phantom slander because of them also hating Mincemeat. But every single comment was like, I don't trust your opinion because you don't like Mincemeat. I can't trust anyone who doesn't like Mincemeat. You're so wrong about Mincemeat. Mincemeat is the best musical ever. I can't trust you because you don't like Phantom. Because fine, they don't like Phantom.
I mean,
it's why the "what about me" effect.
Yeah, there's what about
it almost feels like that.
I just don't know. My thing that I'm just realizing having the conversation is we were talking about these American theatre vloggers who were over this week or last week, I don't know. And they came and saw Mincemeat and they were giving a review about it, like, oh my god, it's so good, it's so funny, it's What specifically? What jokes made you laugh? What did it make you think? Like, what? Getting down into the nitty-gritty of it. That's my thing with Mincemeat at this point. I need someone to tell me exactly what.
I could run through the show minute by minute and be like, I liked this bit, I liked this bit, I liked this bit, I didn't like any of this.
Well, my favorite musicals, I can do that for. I can be like, this is what I really like. These are the themes I really like. This is what I think's effective. I can break it down for you. These other ones, I'm like, when we were talking about Mincemeat, they can't seem to do that. Or they're just not doing it in the way that I'm taking media. I don't know.
Where someone will sit down and explain, like, this opening scene I like, the second scene I didn't like. But I can't find anyone doing that. They're just like, I love Mincemeat. If you don't like Mincemeat, kill yourself.
I love Mincemeat. I'm going 10 times this week.
And it's just, my other problem with it is this extension thing. Like, either announce that you're open-ended or close.
It's the fucking Heathers effect.
And so, for that reason,
it's going deeper.
It would go lower if I wanted. But I
As
can't
you
be
guys
bothered
have
to make more
noticed,
rows.
like pretty much all of these musicals we've spoken about how we got the tickets for cheap, how we got them at a discount. We are broke ass students. We don't have money to be spending on full price theatre tickets. And like we're in a cost of living crisis.
In their program, you'll usually get a little bit, which is like this actor trained here. For like half of the people in the show, yeah, they seem anti-training.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, there's no problem with not having training. Like some of my favorite actors on the West End have never had proper training.
Also, like there is such like a class aspect to it, and there's such like a
it's
privilege
expensive as
to
fuck.
it. So if they were to say something like, "I didn't have the opportunity to be trained" or something like that,
I know people who are like, if you want to be on the West End, you have to have trained. Like you have to
yeah,
have gone to a drama school.
yeah, I know.
And
One of my best friends
I
is like
know.
that.
And I
And
don't
I
agree
like
with that at all.
I don't agree with him, and I like giving him hypotheticals and being like, "What do you think about this situation?" Because it's fun when someone has
It's
an
like
opposing
Rachel
opinion.
Zegler has never had proper training.
I
but
literally said
she's
to him,
incredible.
Rachel Zegler, what do you think? And he was like, oh, she probably would have been trained. And I was like, but if she hadn't and she was that talented, what would you think?
Yeah, they're all very anti-training. They're like, I'm proud to say I've not trained anywhere. And it's like, I get that maybe you're making like a class statement and you're like, I'm glad I haven't given into the institution.
But
Why are
then
you
you
charging
want
90 quid for a balcony seat?
and it's like deliriously untrainable. You are trainable, my love. I guarantee you are.
Yeah.
You can't be anti-establishment on the West fucking end. Like, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I don't want to be like so anti because a ton of people love this show. Surely there has to be a reason that people love it. And I want to know why. I just can't see it.
I can't work it out, and I've been trying to work this out for months, like 6 months now, probably 5 months. I've been trying to work this out, and if anyone, please, if you like Mincemeat, please reach out to us.
Please tell us.
Please.
Like, I don't have the money to go and see it again.
No, I don't want to.
Go
Also,
and see it. I don't want to. I don't have the money to. So I can't go and see it again. I'd be like, okay, you know what? Actually, I do like this bit, and I like this bit.
Operation Mincemeat Bitch Fest over.
But now, one day we'll do a full episode on it, and I'll get to bitch about it forever.
We can bitch about it for hours. Ready to talk about something we like?
Newsies.
This was a very big day for my personal law, as I say. The day we saw Newsies the second time.
Yeah. So we'd seen it again, like December the year before. And the reason we decided we had to go and see it again was because they announced they were closing. And so I paid like 40 quid each, 30 quid each for tickets.
It was 30 quid because I had a voucher.
Which is slightly more than we'd probably usually pay. But we sat basically second row. It was fucking incredible.
It was amazing.
Yeah, we sort of basically because they said they were closing, like, well, we have to go and see it.
We've got to go. And so we go, we trek out to Wembley. We're sat on Wembley Way, eating McDonald's. The stadium is in the distance. I'm on Twitter.
Taylor Swift's poster occasionally comes up.
I'm staring at it because I'm like, Taylor. I'm on Twitter and I see Pop Base, TMZ reports Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater are dating. And my response is just, oh my god. I didn't believe it. And you know what?
It was such an insane day. And then we went and we saw Newsies from the second row.
Second row?
The sound quality in that theatre, so good. We could hear both of them actually talking and the like mic'd version. It was great.
And you could hear like the Newsies being like ad-libbing to each other. But also one thing I will say is that like the whole Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater thing, it was funny for those 24 hours because it was only the theatre kids having their little joke. And then everyone else got involved and it stopped being funny ever since. Anyway, back to Newsies. I just felt like having to share that.
It's just every time I have seen Newsies, twice I've seen Newsies. And both times, like immediately afterwards, I have seen a show that changed my life.
Yeah.
And then like 2 days later, I saw Phantom of the Opera. And so Newsies kind of got overshadowed a little bit. And then we saw Newsies on the 20th of July, 2023. And on the 21st, we saw Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day changed my life.
It changed Nell's brain in a way I was not expecting it to.
I've never seen the Groundhog Day movie. I saw the
musical is better. I've seen the movie.
But I fucking love Newsies. I think it's just Newsies will always hold. It's kind of similar to how I feel about like Matilda, in that it holds a very, very special place in my heart, and I really like it. And so like I could talk about it for hours, but we've already done a Newsies episode.
It wasn't as special as the first time I saw it. The first time we saw it was so special.
The first time we saw it, we cried.
Mm-hmm.
When the female Newsies came out, I cried.
I
When the
cried because
Newsies flied over the audience, I cried.
yeah, I cried because I was seeing Newsies and also because of how good it was and because of how much the
Yeah.
surprise everything was and how special it
It's
was.
just
The second time it was amazing, but I knew what to expect.
like, I mean, watching it from the second row was fucking incredible. It was an entirely different experience.
Getting to see Santa Fe.
You could see the picture of Santa Fe, you could hear the talking. There was a bit in, I think it was the finale dance, where one of the Newsies newspapers flew out and landed in front of us. That was fun. They like talked to us like they were selling us papers.
It was amazing.
It was so much fun. I just love interactive theatre. And you might have gathered that from when we talked about Great Comet. I love interactive theatre. I loved Newsies. I think, like you said, the first time was better.
The first time,
But this one
also,
was
the
incredible.
crowd was completely different. First time, it was people our age who had grown up a bit with Newsies and was like going to see it to almost honor their teen selves. Whereas the second time, it was those teenagers, which was nice to see.
Oh, was it the first time or second time when there was like a standing ovation halfway through a song?
Might
it was
have
the
been
second time
both.
because it was closing. Closing. It was like halfway through Seize the Day. There was a standing ovation.
I was like, this didn't. You guys don't need to do this.
It's another 10 minutes of dancing. But it's a fucking great music. I'm putting it in A tier along with The Phantom.
I'm putting it in. Oh, actually, I'm putting it B tier by putting it in A tier.
I think it's a musical that's very near and dear to my heart.
It is.
I don't think I could put it below A tier.
I thought about putting it in B tier because I like wanted to hold off, and I was like, no, this is one of the shows that you've been holding off putting stuff up high to put up high.
Yeah, it's that thing. Like I'm looking at what I put, and it's like, do I think Newsies is better than Bonnie and Clyde and Bake Off? Yes.
Yeah.
In that I enjoyed it more. I think the first time we saw it, S tier. If it was on here, S tier, 110%.
I think that if this was last year's, I'd have a lot more difficulty placing both, but Bonnie and Clyde and Newsies, because
it is crazy that we saw Bonnie and Clyde and Newsies in the same year.
I saw Bonnie and Clyde Into the Woods and Newsies all in the same year. Like, how would I have to rank
14-year-old us would not have survived.
Dead in a ditch. Especially with those casts. Oh my god, I would have like given out. Anyway,
the next day, 21st of July,
we saw Barbie.
We saw Barbie in central London, in Spain.
It was great. We had a great time. Cried.
Yeah, I cried. It was so good. And then Esme was like, oh, I have tickets to go and see Groundhog Day. Do you want to come?
Yeah, my parents went to a rave. So basically, it was my dad's favorite movie. And my parents went to a rave instead of going to see Groundhog Day. So like it's meant to be my dad, and then my mum was like, I want to come see Groundhog Day. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then my little sister was like, I want to come see Groundhog Day. So I ended up buying 4 tickets. And I bought these back in like February because it's like quite a big group. Yeah, buy 4 tickets. And then the rave comes about and it's like, oh, they say, where's Groundhog Day? And it's like, I'm going to see Groundhog Day. I had listened to the recording and I liked the recording. Like, I loved him mention stuff. And so I actually really wanted to see it. And I was like, we're seeing Barbie on that day. Like, let's just go after
the same group.
Yeah, pretty much same group. So, and as I was leaving the house, my parents were like, are you sure you don't want to come to the rave? There's an extra ticket. And I was like, I am dressed in all pink. I have got tickets to Barbie and Groundhog Day. Goodbye.
I'm busy. So my mum was like, oh, I really want to see Groundhog Day. And I was like, well, I mean, maybe I'll give my mum my ticket and Esme can go with my mum.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'll go see it. I enjoy watching it. I have no idea what it's about.
Because you were like toying with like coming or going, and I was like, you should just come.
Yeah.
I was like, it's Tin Mitchin, come.
Yeah. There was also a point where we were like, we got there quite early, and I remember I had a headache, and we had to run to like a Tesco down the road to get me headache pills.
Yeah.
And there was a point where I felt like really sick, and I had this.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, guys, I might just leave. I'm really sorry to waste a ticket. I might just leave.
No, if you left at that point, I'd be like, fair enough.
Yeah, but I was like, no, I'll stick it out. I chugged some of our friend's water. I
Could you
went in basically.
Could you
blind.
imagine if you hadn't have seen Groundhog Day that day, though?
My life would simultaneously be so much better and so much worse.
So I had like some expectations. I was expecting to find it good,
Mm.
but I wasn't expecting to like love it because I already knew the score. I knew the story. I've seen the film. I've listened to the recording. I listen to it every time it snows. Like it's snow
Yeah.
music to me. Because, you know, it's set during winter, and when I first listened to it, it was the one time it snowed. I went when I went with those expectations, but holy fuck.
We turned to each other. There was like a group of 4 of us.
Yeah.
And we all looked at each other in the interval and we were like, holy shit.
That interval, we're
This
like,
is
it's
good.
that interval, we're like, this is good. And then as we were like walking out of the theatre, one of my friends turned to me and she went, "That's the best piece of theatre I've seen in a while."
Yeah, we were walking to like Waterloo Station. We were like, that was incredible.
My feet were like falling apart. I was like
Yeah, I was
hobbling down.
so tired. I felt like I was gonna fall asleep. I was like, holy shit. Oh, I could talk about it for hours. All of Hope.
All of Hope. Oh
The
my
suicides. Oh
God. My
It was just incredible.
I was speechless during Hope. I was just like, what the fuck?
Like I went into this complete blank. I think the other thing for me, which I realized when I saw it the second time, watching Barbie and then listening to Playing Nancy
Oh my God.
is an entirely different experience than listening
Yeah,
to Playing Nancy at
it
any
was
other time in your life.
And like stuff like, oh my God, what's her Rita's character. If I had my time again one
Actually,
day.
my favorite song If I Had My Time Again is my favorite song in the entire show. I told my mum that and she was like, I guessed it might be. Thanks.
I just, oh my God. People were like, how's Barbie? How's Barbie? And I was like, it was amazing. Anyway, I saw Groundhog Day afterwards. Do you want to talk about
Yeah,
that?
Groundhog Day was great. Barbie was great. Let me talk about Groundhog Day.
Let me talk about Groundhog Day, the musical, because I will say, the one thing about the first act is it takes a moment to get going, but once it gets going, it is
I think
insane.
the problem with the first act, again, this is coming from someone who has literally never seen Groundhog Day, the movie. I had no idea about like the actual plot about Groundhog Day, but I know what a Groundhog Day is. Like the idea of being stuck in one day in a time loop over and over and over again. Every single person in the world, well, maybe that's a bit generous, but everyone basically knows what that is. Like if you say, oh, it's like Groundhog Day, you're stuck in a loop. And I feel like the problem with the first act, it takes too long for that to come across. You go like all of day 1 is really long, which makes sense because you have to set up the day. But then day 2 also feels too long.
Yes,
for an audience who already knows what's happening. Like obviously it's so that the character Phil can understand
what's going on.
You're in a loop.
Shout out Andy Carl.
He was fucking incredible.
Oh my God.
Andy Carl.
Oh my God. How did that man not get... Shout out Andy Carl for doing that 8 times a week on and off for about 7-8 years at this point.
Yeah.
I
think that was the problem, that the whole of the first act took too long because you had to set up so much.
But that setup is so worth it.
Act 1 finale is one day?
No, it's if I had my... Yeah, it's one day.
No, it is not. It is one day.
It's one day, yeah.
Because he has this whole... that the end of one day is kind of this... It's him coming to terms with him being stuck in the loop.
Yes, yeah.
Which for the audience, we realised about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And it's very well done. Like, I go and listen to one day just to hear the end. I think it's so good.
Oh, yeah. I got a text from Nell once being like, I have a Groundhog Day problem. I check Airbuds. It's all she's listened to.
It's all I've listened to. I have an actual problem with it. I've stopped listening to it for a bit. But I am probably going to go and listen to it after this.
Oh, I've got it up.
How much I love Groundhog Day.
On my phone. One of my favorite parts is If I Have My Time Again as well, though. Good. Because he implements all of those changes. Yeah. And I would learn piano. And I would read all these books. And I would do all of these things. And Tim Mitchell, you little bitch.
It's just like there's that bit right before he breaks the time loop. Yeah. Spoilers for Groundhog Day, he does break it.
Spoilers.
But it's that bit when they're meeting, the comedy that they managed to get through the loops was so like that bit where he's doing the snowball fight with the kids, And there's one like time where he just throws it with all his might.
I
It's
like
so
I like
funny.
it when Andy when she's called Andy Carl when Phil walks on stage in the fur coat with like the two random women.
The philandering song is really good.
Oh,
Like that whole bit when he's like, "There's no concert." Like, it's nobody cares. Is
nobody
such a good bit.
cares. Holy fuck. With the cars. With the cars.
It's
Also
such every single part of it is so good. There's not a single bit where I was like, I don't like this.
seeing
This is
you as well, I was crying.
I might cry.
I was like, no, Phil's out of time loop. He's gonna leave his friend.
It sounds evil.
What, him being
And
out the time
then
loop?
do that, and then it's suddenly just stopping and going into a wind instrument, and it's all very calm.
Oh
And then
my
the
god.
alarm doesn't go off.
Oh my
And
god.
then Rita walks in through the door. And she's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't know where your bathroom was."
I knew it was about to happen because I'd listened to the soundtrack and I was like, I want to cry, Rita.
And then when he was like, "Wait, I have to show you something," and they go and watch the sunrise by the bench, and the whole bit with the homeless man and the guy's song, I forget his name,
The night will come, that
but his
song. It has to be
and oh my god,
Esther.
the setup for the end of that song, whether the whole time that character has been like, "You gotta love life, you gotta love life, you gotta love life insurance," and then the end of the song he says, "You gotta love life." It's an Esther.
It's Esther. It has to
It's
be.
my first Esther.
I
It is
just
such an incredible show. If you ever have an opportunity to go and see, on the 7th of July 2023, I go and see Groundhog Day for the second time in a week.
no regrets.
No regrets. So purely this is because my mum wanted to go, and I went, and I came home and I was like, "It was so incredible. It's like the best piece of theatre I've ever seen." And she was like, "Well, I'll book tickets for us to go." I think seeing this show the second time was kind of why I started being like, I feel like I don't enjoy seeing shows more than once that often.
Yeah.
Because once I've seen it once, I know I love it. I love Groundhog Day. Like, I don't know if my whole spiel before came through. I fucking love Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
My problem the second time we saw it was, so I had better seats this time. I could like properly see what was happening on stage. It was great. My problem was the audience. They weren't hecklers, but we had people who would sometimes shout out stuff. Specifically, there was this guy right behind us who, in the song "Seeing You," which is like the last song of the musical, it's not even sad, but
It's
it's
not
a very
sad.
quiet
I was
song.
just crying.
Yeah, it's emotional. When they were singing it, this guy who was sat behind us was trying to guess the lines, which like I sometimes do that in my head where I'm like, I think I know what this rhyme is going to be.
That was me the entire time at Mincemeat, but like I didn't say it out loud.
Yeah, but he was just saying it, and then one time he got it wrong. He went like, "Oh," really loudly, and thank God this woman in front of us, she was lovely. She actually wasn't. She was kind of a bitch, but she was lovely in this moment where she turned around and like glared at him and told him to shut up. It was also we could look over onto like the stools, and so many people were on their phones, like throughout the show, with like the brightness all the way up. I was like, Jesus Christ. And it was very annoying because I was like, I love this musical. I wanted my mum to love this musical.
Yeah.
This was great. But unfortunately, it was kind of, I'm going to put it, I think, the second time I saw it, in B tier.
Interesting. Not for the show, but just for the...
No, the show was incredible, which is like, was just about the audience. It would probably be in like C tier.
Yeah.
But because I was seeing Groundhog Day again, I still think it was really, really good.
Oklahoma.
What did you see?
Third time, last time I won theatre roulette with my dad. Like that's the story. He thought it was very weird. He got very deep into how other portrayals did the ending and decided that they did change it to make Curly look like more of a bad guy. I'm gonna put it B tier. I still got something out of it and it was entertaining. Moving on.
Yeah, the next show we saw.
I'm gonna be so annoying after this, guys.
I know. The next show we saw together was on the 22nd of August, 2023.
So let's set the scene, right?
In like April, I got a notification. I believe an email from Lloyd Webber Theatres.
You are on their mailing list.
I am on their mailing list. And they said, "Nell, big news. Andrew Lloyd Webber's Love Never Dies in concert, starring Non Lewis."
Yep.
I forget her name every single time we talk about this.
Celinda Shawnmaker.
Starring them in concert. this August.
Yeah.
Immediately texted Esme. I said, Esme, do you want to come and see Love Never Dies in concert with me?
I
And she's
said,
like, I mean,
I'm not paying.
he said it not particularly. I said, Esme, we could go on your birthday.
I went, no.
So I booked for the day after her birthday.
Yeah.
I had the option of essentially every single seat in that theatre. I chose the 2 seats in the very back row.
Yeah.
As a joke. The joke was we were going to go see Love Never Dies in the very back row of the theatre.
So 21st of August is my birthday.
We go out, we get drunk in central London.
We get drunk, and then the next day, I don't know if you know this, next day, my mum and my sisters go to Greece. I say, no, I've got too much theatre to watch.
No, I have to go and see Love Never Dies.
Got to go see Love Never Dies in concert. Sorry.
I also want to mention, so I booked these tickets in about April. I also, when I booked the tickets, I paid for a signed program.
You did, yes.
So I do have Norman Lewis's signature. It was pretty good.
So we were like, we're gonna be hungover because we always knew we were gonna go see Love Never Dies hungover. Like,
yeah.
From the second we booked the tickets, I was like, it'll be funny if I see Love Never Dies sequel to Phantom of the Opera hungover. So we go before to Wagamama's.
We were like, let's make a whole day out of it. We got Wagamama's, we got a Starbucks.
I have
before the boycott.
Obviously. I have this great photo of me sat hungover in Wagamama's. It's so funny.
It was such a
and like night. In my glass, you can just see the reflection and just like how little shits I'm giving. Also, Scooter Braun's downfall is happening at the same time.
Yeah, a lot is going on.
It's all popping off.
I just want to say, it was good.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't bad. Like, Love Never Dies is notoriously bad. It was not that bad when we saw it. I think that's in part because we saw Norm Lewis.
Norm Lewis and Celinda Shaw-Macker were amazing in the role, and they were definitely a saving grace of it. Let me get up my B-roll that I took, because my friend texted me and was like, "Are you okay?" So it's one of me and now outside of Drury Lane. And then I just put the caption as being taken against my will, and my friend texts me and goes, to Frozen?
Worse, to Love Never Dies.
No, Karis, to Love Never Dies in concert.
It's good. Like, I understand. Everyone who's like, Love Never Dies is horrid. It's a horrid sequel to Phantom. They're right. It's a horrid sequel to Phantom.
Yes.
However, as a standalone show, if you see it slightly hungover,
yes, it's so entertaining.
I always have described it as Love Never Dies is the show where Andrew Lloyd Webber discovers comedy.
Yeah, and boy, he tries.
Me and my sister, I forced her to listen to it. There's a song called Devil Takes the Hindmost, which is between The Phantom and Row. It is up there as quite possibly one of the funniest songs ever written.
Oh, it's so unhinged.
It's not even meant to be that funny. It just is. There's this bit in the recording. We listened to the Australian cast.
I listened to the West End.
Wow, boring.
Thank you.
But there's this bit when he's like, Ralph's like, me and Christine have a son, you know. I'm pretty sure we're in love. And the friend's like, are you sure? Are you sure he's your son?
Ooh.
Ralph just goes, you lie.
I was prepared.
Or ever would.
I was prepared for the I was prepared for the rock opera. I thought I was prepared. I knew it was coming.
So Phantom is very 80s in that there's a lot of like 80s sounds. Like there's synths and there's like electric guitars and stuff. Yeah. Like you listen to it and you're like, yeah, this is 80s inspired. There's an emo rock song.
It's so good.
In Love Never Dies.
I've not listened to it since. Not listened to it since because the one time I listened to it was so great.
I added Love Never Dies to my Phantom playlist, and occasionally it just starts. And the problem is the way it starts is with Gustav, Christine's son, singing her little.
Oh fucking no, I don't listen to it.
It's very nice, like it's a very beautiful little tune, and he's singing it, and I was like, sing that again.
Gustav, shout out to him.
He was fucking incredible. What was his name? I want to put this guy on the map. He's like 8. I want to put him on the map. He was insane.
He's 8, more successful than us, and we Love Never Dies.
He was incredible. Well, my one problem with it was I always talk about this. Christine is meant to be blonde.
Oh my
Like in the book,
god.
she's blonde. It's a
Oh
big
my
thing.
god.
They have a blonde actress playing her, and they gave her a brown wig.
You were raging.
Yeah, Sian Eagle Service as Gustav.
Shout
He was
out.
fucking incredible.
Shout out to him.
We also saw Courtney Stapleton, who was the first ever Black Meg.
Yeah, she was amazing. Like Megan, especially in Love Never Dies, is such a hard character to play because she is such a departure from what she is in the source material in Phantom. But when she was screaming at the Phantom, I was like, she's never done anything wrong. You know, at the end of the day,
I was on her side. I was like, you know what, kill Christine. That's fine.
At the end of the day,
deserve it.
I support women's rights and I also support women's wrongs.
Like Megan Love Never Dies is a pretty tragic character. Like there's this whole, it is kind of explicitly said, but it's also not explicitly said, where it's very, very heavily implied that she's been selling her body in order to help the Phantom's theme park succeed.
Yeah.
And when she was like screaming it, I was like, you know what, kill them all.
I was like, justice for my girl Meg. She's my girl boss.
I really enjoyed Chloe Campbell in the ensemble, who was in Tuck Everlasting. Shout out.
Just Tuck Everlasting mention. Yeah, no, genuinely big fan.
Big fan. So it's the intermission. We're again at the back of the theatre.
Back of the theatre. I'm really hungover on Twitter watching Scooter Braun's downfall. Yeah. At Love Never Dies.
We could go and get a drink, but we're pretty far away to the point where I'm like, I don't actually know if we'll make it back to our seats before intermission is over if we go and leave right now.
Yeah.
So staying there, and then suddenly we hear this commotion down in the stalls.
We hear people cheering mid-intermission.
Like, cheering and shouting. I'm like, is there a fight? You know, are they coming back out? You know, is the interval over?
A fight at Love Never Dies.
You imagine. So I'm like, oh, maybe because the curtain, it was a concert, so the curtain didn't really properly go down.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, are they coming back out and we just can't see because of, you know, our bad seats? Like, I want to make it clear, when I complain about the seats, I chose them because they were going to be bad.
We're going to see Love Never Dies. You don't actually care.
Like, it needs to be the worst seats we can get.
We could have also moved to a slightly better seat.
Yeah, we could have moved, but we didn't. And we were like, what's going on? And Esme's like, no, go and look what's going on, because she's hungover.
Yeah. I was also being forced. Also, as monitoring Twitter.
Yeah. So I run down to the front of the balcony, where all of us who are on the balcony are standing, and I'm trying to look and see what's happening. I also just want to make it clear, right? Before I tell you, I'm gonna like very heavily hint, almost reveal what I'm about to say by saying this. Before the show started, me and Esme were like, do you think Andrew Lloyd Webber is going to be here?
Also the friend who texted me being like, you're being forced against your will to go to Frozen was like, imagine if he's there.
Yeah, we were all like, haha, imagine if he's there. And he went the night before.
Yeah.
And I was like, Esme, he's going to be there. Like, half joking. I was like expecting him to be there, but to like be backstage, and he'd come out at the end and do a little speech at a push. Like, that was the most he was going to do.
I was like, he might be there and we might see it later on Twitter. It'll be, haha, we were in the same place as Andrew Lloyd Webber. Yeah. How funny.
And when we're sat in our seats, we're joking around. I'm like, well, if he's sat in one of the boxes, if he's not sat in the bottom right box, we'll be able to see him. Because we can see all of those boxes from where we are. We cannot see that one.
No.
So for the interval, I run down to the front of the balcony and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And I look into that little box. And who do I see? But Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Our best friends.
And I run back up and Esme's like, what's going on? And I practically scream at her. Yeah.
I sent off about 5 different text messages to people who we've all joked with, being like,
yeah, because we've always joked like, maybe we'll see Andy. And we were like, he's fucking here.
I have a photo I sent to my friend of me just losing my shit with just he's here, and she understood immediately what I meant.
But it was, and then he came out at the end of the show and he did a little speech, and it was insane.
There's a video that exists. I'm not allowed to post it.
There's this video that Esme filmed of his speech. I don't actually think you can hear the speech. All you can hear is me next to the phone going, oh.
What's out? You go, this is the best day of my life.
It really was.
And the whole time I'm laughing because I've always said Andrew Lloyd Webber is one of the people who if I ever saw in the flesh, I wouldn't know what to do myself in front of. It's a bit like, Abby Lee Miller. Like, what do you do in front of like Andrew Lloyd Webber? And
And
so I was just
thank
there
God we were at the back of the balcony because
laughing my arse off.
we would have like actually gone insane.
Well, we're not
We
actually
didn't
allowed.
even like stay and even try and like hang around for him. We left. We were like, we're going.
I was like, well, and then we joked the entire way back. What's the car gonna do? Hit us? We just so actually.
But for all of those reasons, Love Never Dies is very controversially going in A tier.
Not to say it's going in A tier. I put it in C tier.
The thing for me is Love Never Dies in A tier is purely from the experience of it.
Yeah, experience
Like,
alone, B
that
tier.
might have been my peak. Like the experience I had throughout that day.
The whirlwind of
incredible.
emotions.
And then afterwards, I got to go home and like sleep for the next few days.
Okay, here we go. So the next show I saw was the day after. So it was my birthday. One of my closest friends was like, "You've never seen Les Mis. It's my favorite show of all time. You need to go see Les Mis." And I was like, "I hate One Day More of a Burning Passion. Why would I go see Les Mis?" And then she was like, "No, you need to go see it for your birthday and buying us tickets to go see Les Mis." And I was like, "Okay, I've seen Phantom this year, and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Let me go see Les Mis." And the only day I could do was the 23rd. Like the only day that like lined up was the 23rd. I was busy.
I just want to say before Esme goes on with this that for how long have we known each other now?
Oh God. 5, 6 years?
Surely we did not meet in like 2019.
Fuck. No. Yeah, no. 7, 8 years then.
Yeah, 8 years-ish.
Fuck off.
For the whole time that I have known her, Esme has hated Les Mis.
I've not
Like she was
liked
like, Les
it.
Mis is the worst musical.
I don't think it's the worst. I just didn't like it.
She was like, I hate One Day More.
I did
when
hate
we
One Day
went to-
More.
When we went to Western Live, she was like, if they sing One Day More, I'm gonna scream. And then as she finished this sentence, One Day More started, and it was the funniest moment of that day. I got like
started
sunburned
laughing.
on that day. Yeah, like a group of us around her started laughing. And we didn't know any of these people. We were just all laughing.
All brought together by my weird hatred of Les Mis. And I tried to listen to it. I just could not get into
She
it.
just really didn't like it. And I was like, you know what? I really like Les Mis. Like controversially, I really love the film. Like,
I know
The One
you
with
do.
Eddie
It's
Redmayne.
so
I really like.
strange. But no, I was just like, I just didn't like it. And the shit of it is, I got really into Miss Saigon. So I like their music. And one of the only good things about Miss Saigon is how good that score is.
Yeah.
And so I know I like the music. I like the high drama. I like a mega musical. But I was like, nah, Les Mis isn't it, guys. Les Mis,
Yeah.
not it.
She was like, I'll never like Les Mis.
Anyway, so I'm like, okay, no, I just need to go see it at this point in my life. I'm there. I'm like quite excited about it. I'm like, this is gonna be a time. I'm sure I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna have a good time. It starts, and after Javert's like first little bit before at the end of the day, I am like a new person. I am like, by the time like the theme starts for the first time properly, and they project like Les Mis on on like the back of the stage, I
What
was
a
there
start.
like applauding, going, "This is the best thing ever."
8 months before Esme saw Les Mis. It was
Yeah.
New Year's Eve. We were walking to a pub, and I was taught. I don't remember what specifically. We were already pretty drunk.
We were pretty drunk last
about
month.
musicals in some sense. I got onto the topic of Les Mis, and I turned to Esme and I said, "You're an Eponine bitch.
You're an
aren't
Eponine
you?"
bitch, aren't you? Yeah.
And Esme was like, I don't like Les Mis.
No,
You know.
no, I said I was.
You said, yeah, I guess, but I don't really like Les Mis. 8 months later, Esme sees Les Mis.
And have like, I wish someone had a camera on my face because I was like crying. I dreamed a dream
Esme
came on.
Is in fact an Eponine bitch, for reference.
Yeah. So sorry. No, so it starts, and I like at the end of the day. I've always said I think end of the day is good. And then like I dreamed a dream happens and Lucy Jones is singing it and I'm there crying my eyes out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Okay, like cool, I've had a cry. I'm not expecting to cry today up past this point. And then I like at every major part, I'm just there crying my eyes out. And like all of the little things that I'd never picked up on the recording, like how when Eponine and Cosette made eye contact for the first time, there was this moment of, oh my God, it's you.
It's a good musical.
And I was just there like, and then I turned to Martha at the end and I went at the end when I went, she went, are you liking it? She was like, are you enjoying it? And I was like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. This is just so good. It was her favorite show that we saw this year. It wasn't her favorite time seeing it, but I think the first time she saw it, I'm gonna have to ask her. There was in like an insanely weirdly stacked cast. And it was just like a normal like
it was like when I saw it because my old dance teacher was in it, and I didn't realize until literally about like a few months ago that I saw Carrie Hope Fletcher as Eponine.
I think Martha saw like Eva Noblezada as Eponine.
That is incredible.
And I was like, what? Anyway, so and then I'm like one day more and I'm like, okay, this is where my love of Les Mis ends for this moment. This is where I go back to being a Les Mis hater. One day more, tear in my eye because I'm enjoying her so much. And it's like, you know, the part where Eponine has to deliver the letter and she's like about to scream and like they're all screaming at each other and I'm like, I love this so much.
Esme loves Les Mis now. It was such a funny change.
It was like overnight.
It was literally, I texted her like a few hours before she left. We were talking about, I literally just looked at my phone. We were talking about a Gustav casting call for an international tour of Eyes.
Yeah.
Again, it was the morning after.
Yeah.
And then she texted me, she's like, I'm at Les Mis. I'm like, okay, have fun. Like 3 hours later, I'm like, I'm a new person.
I'm a new person.
I cried, laughed, loved more.
Yeah. Texting with my friend with Toby, who's a proud Les Mis hater, and I was like, Toby, Les Mis is amazing. You need to come see it. We need to come see it. We need to come see it. We need to come see it. I even like one day more now. He was like, that's where I draw the line.
I was a Phantom confession. I was a Phantom hater for a while, and I still kind of am.
Yeah.
I think Phantom is ridiculous, and I think Andrew Lloyd Webber is ridiculous. And then seeing it live, I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. And I was like, Esme, you're gonna have that experience at Les Mis.
I think like, oh, I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about it when we talk about like Les Mis and like especially Miss Saigon. I have very complex feelings towards Miss Saigon, especially. But Les Mis, I think it's just one that you've gotta go see to really appreciate the spectacle, man.
The thing that's really annoying is that like all of these massive, really famous mega musicals from the 80s, you're always like, yeah, they're really hyped up.
No.
But are they that good? And then you go and see them and you're like, fuck, they are really good though.
The issue is that they're amazing pieces of theatre. That's the real issue here. That's the real epidemic plaguing our houses. Is that Cameron Mackintosh can put on a good show.
Sucks.
And I wish he didn't.
It's awful.
It's so horrific. At the end, when everyone came out and started singing, do you hear the people sing again?
Empty chairs and empty tables, it always gets me.
My one thing though.
Uh-oh.
Why wasn't Eponine there?
I actually don't know. I feel like there is a reason, but I don't know.
She died on the barricade. She was Marius's friend.
She is meant to be.
No, she's not. The ending, laughed, cried. I fucking love Les Mis, guys. I take back every bad word I've ever said about it.
Hope you're gonna. Where is Les Mis going?
S tier, obviously.
Good.
Okay.
Your next show. Esme went through a bit of an ordeal. Right after her birthday.
Yeah.
She saw 3 separate shows and 2 of them changed her life.
2 of them? Well,
and one of them Andrew Lloyd Webber was at.
So that was life-changing, you could argue.
She saw Andrew Lloyd Webber, changed her opinion on a show she hated for years.
And then saw one of my favourite musicals of all time that I never thought I was going to see in the UK. So let's like recast our minds back a little bit, shall we, to October 2022. I'm in a online lecture. I'd like to say I was in my own room when this happened. Because it's an online lecture, it's like introductory stuff, so it's not important. I'm scrolling I'm checking my inbox. I see Donma released their season. I click, okay? And I scroll to the bottom, I'm like, nothing here's really like calling my name, but I know they like to do a musical every so often, so I'm gonna keep watching. I then see next to normal. I scream. I I can't actually like I can't get into it. I cannot get into my deep personal connections to this show. All that you guys should know is that although I've never watched a bootleg in my whole entire life, I
Obviously.
would watch that bootleg I would watch the bootleg on repeat at the age of like 15. Very normal activities happening. So anyway, big deal. I'm like, how do I get tickets? How much are tickets gonna be? Because I'm broke as well. And I and I see they're doing £10 tickets if you're under 30. So I'm like, amazing, I'll just get those. I am on sale the second those tickets go on sale, and I buy two. And I'm like, me and Karis, who's a friend who likes Next to Normal. No one else likes Next to Normal because it's weird and long and depressing, and so I have these tickets for ages. Like I just had them for like I debated going on my birthday. I was like, no, that's too weird. You can't go see Next to Normal on your birthday. And so I was like, okay, like my birthday week, it'll be a nice little treat. And then like I just so happened to be at the theatre the other 2 nights. But Next to
Yeah.
Normal was the big event. Casey Levy's announced to be playing Diana. I'm like amazing. I love Casey Levy. She was great as Elsa in Frozen. Eleanor Worthington Cox is set to be playing Natalie. Natalie's my favorite character. She also played Matilda originally. So big, 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 big deal. So I'm buzzed, right? And I'm like joking. I'm like, scheduled mental breakdown. Me going to see Next to Normal. I'm going to cry in a way that I've never cried at anything before. And I'm like kind of joking because I don't really cry at things. And I'm like, I'm either saying I'm going to cry a little bit at the start and be fine, or I'm just going to cry the entire time. So I get that. Our seats are amazing. For a tenner, our seats are like truly amazing. I bought these so long ago that it basically felt free. And so it starts. And I cry through like the prelude. It's not called an overture, it's called a prelude. Um, I cry from there until like halfway through Just Another Day, which is the opening number, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm seeing Next to Normal. This is such a big deal. And then I start crying like halfway through Just Another Day, like a different reason. Like, when you just feel it's a different type of tears.
Yeah.
I am crying because I'm like Next to Normal is just really depressing. Um, and it doesn't really stop. Like it's just a steady flow of tears throughout Act One. And Act One highlights obviously Superboy and the Invisible Girl slapped, sobbed. One thing I will say is I Miss the Mountains, completely different now. It's completely revolutionized the way I think about I Miss the Mountains because the opening line is there was a time where I flew higher, there was a time the world go running free would be me. Now I feel she needs me there, but I'm nowhere. And I always thought Diana was just talking about herself. I was like, she's talking about a younger version of herself. Da-da-da-da-da. And watching this production, it made me realize she's talking about Natalie, who basically Diana very rarely acknowledges Natalie because she's so hung up on spoiler alert, the death of her son. I get to interval, and it is the strangest interval I have ever been at in my life. Because normally like the second like the curtain drops or like the music stops, people start chattering. Here, people like were silent for like 2 minutes. Like everyone was walking out into like the lobby in silence because everyone was just like that was so depressing. There's a photo of me crying at the interval, which I think is pretty funny actually. Yeah, me crying at the interval. It was just so good and it was everything I wanted it to be. And me and Karis, we got out of it and we were like, I'm so glad that it's sold out because I don't know if I could do that again. And now it's coming to the West End and I'm going to go see it again. But like, I'm so glad that that moment was had. It was a moment. It was a good one. I had a good time. I didn't have a good time. I cried the entire time. But you know what I mean. And No one checked my phone for the next normal bootlegs.
I just remember the text I got from you as you were like getting ready for it to start and during the interval, and it just sounded like you were preparing for war. Like I don't know if I'll come out this the same. It's starting now. I think it's specifically texting me like, "See you on the other side."
Yeah,
or
I
something.
did.
Jesus Christ, man.
It was like I have never sobbed my entire way through something,
Yeah.
but I did. Like it was just like it was funny though because everyone had different crying styles. Like I was very much like, and like not even just like Karis, like people around us would just like pick certain times and just loudly sob.
Yeah. I think it's a thing. I don't mean for this to come off rude, but I
Go
am
ahead.
glad I didn't go with you.
No, yeah.
Like I was not the right person
No, and
for
I knew you weren't
next
because
normal life for the first time with.
I never offered you the ticket.
No, yeah, literally. I got told, oh, I've got tickets and 2 tickets to next to normal in the Donmar warehouse. I'm going with Karis, and I was like, okay.
I knew you wouldn't like appreciate it as much.
Yeah. So I think if when it's on the West End,
Yeah.
we talked about going together.
Mm.
So I feel like I should see it.
I think I'll be a lot more normal, pun intended,
Yeah.
this time because I've seen it once. I hope the cast transfers. Anyway, but at the end of that theatre run, I wanted to go to sleep, and that was the last show I saw that year.
I unfortunately saw one more. The cast on my back to about mid-October. I get a text from my sister, and she says, "What are you doing on Halloween?" I was like, "Well, I don't really have any plans. I might go out of my house, with some of my friends. It's Halloween night.
I went to a
Good
Taylor Swift
club
club
night.
night dressed as a puzzle as a niche lyric.
Fun night." And my sister was like, "Well, what if instead we saw Phantom together on Halloween, dressed up as Phantom characters?"
Mm.
Because I was going to a gig that was a Halloween themed gig, so you had to dress up in costume. And I was already planning on going as the Phantom as the joke
So
because my
you
friend is going as the Riddler.
so you just so
Doing that.
happened to have the costume.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't the Riddler, as the Joker. I mixed that up. I don't care about like DC and shit.
Oh, next to normal was going in S tier, by the way, if you can tell.
Oh, I assumed it. So I decided to look at what tickets were available, and my sister texts me and she says, "Mum's offered to buy if they're under 100 quid each." Well, and this was a very generous offer, to be clear.
Yeah.
This was kind of implied to be my birthday present.
Yeah. Your birthday was
Kind of,
nearby.
yeah, half and half my birthday present because I was taking my sister, so it was a mix of things. Um, but she offered to buy the tickets if they were under £100 each.
Mm.
And so I was looking, and I was like, the front row seats are about £80 each.
Yeah.
And I called my mum, and I was like, when you say under £100, is that like your only limit?
Yeah.
Like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, there's 2 seats available in the very front row for Halloween night, and she agreed to buy them.
Amazing.
So I travelled home on the morning of Halloween.
Yeah.
I got home. I helped put up the decorations. I helped get all of the sweets out, the trick or treaters. Then we went into set. I got onto the tube.
I think you were texting me as I was like getting ready, and I was like, I'm going dressed as an angel.
And I was the Phantom. And we get there, and we get a lot of compliments on our costumes. I was the Phantom. She was Christine, because she wanted to be. I wasn't allowed to be Christine. We got compliments. We bought some stuff at the merch stand.
Yeah.
Including a £40 teddy bear that she wanted that I got for her. I just want to make it very clear I'm a really good sister.
Yeah,
I'm
you
really
are.
nice.
When it comes to Phantom of the Opera.
And we sit down in our row seats.
Uh-huh.
This is the best theatre experience I have ever had.
Really?
Something like Groundhog Day, which is, I'm going to tell you right now, I'll talk a lot about it. I'll try and keep it short though.
Okay.
Groundhog Day is the only other one I have in S tier right now. This was going in S tier.
Yeah.
And I think the experience of Groundhog Day was incredible. It was an incredible show.
Yeah.
But Phantom from the front row was fucking insane.
Yeah.
I read this out to Esme after I saw it.
Oh my god, and we were like getting ready to record Wicked and my fire alarm went off. And I was like, can you not hear that? Or do you just care about Phantom too much?
I could hear. I have an actual list of things that we noticed. Like, for example, in the opening Hannibal scene, the ballet girls don't have their hair done. Like, it's all up in pin curls and stuff, or like tied back. It's
Yeah.
not done how it is when they perform because it's just a rehearsal. Christine's hair is braided. Like, we noticed a lot about costuming. Also, the Phantom wears this fucking ridiculous costume after Music of the Night. It's the funniest costume in the show. And me and my sister were really trying not to laugh because he was sat right. We were sat, if anyone's familiar with the staging of Phantom, where his like organ is, in his lair, we were sat directly in front of that. So he could see us and we could see him. He was wearing this stupid fucking outfit and we were really trying not to laugh. We could hear every single line that was said. Like, I
Interesting.
explained this to Esme, like, I kind of, in the musical, Raoul always comes across as kind of stupid.
Mm.
Like, he very much pushes, this angel of music is not real, Christine. You are not being stalked by a man. You know, just calm down. Are you stupid? He very much seems like that throughout it. And then we were listening to Prima Donna and we could actually hear what he was saying. And he is very much aware of what is going on and he is trying to figure out ways to help Christine.
Oh.
I'm like, wow, he's really nice. Also, my sister has a massive crush on the guy currently playing Raoul.
Yeah.
Like, it's bad. So if he's listening, my sister has a crush on you. She's 16, so please don't do anything.
No.
I'm also pretty sure he has a girlfriend. It's just there were so many things that you could just realize being front row. Also, all of the actors were so nice in the bows. Like the guy
Mm.
who played Piangi, he smiled at us and like gave us a thumbs up because we were cheering for him because no one else was. And I was like, fuck you, Piangi was great.
Oh, no one else
I loved
understands.
Carlotta. Carlotta is one of my favorite characters. I was cheering for
No
her
one else
so much.
understands the
You don't
full
understand.
effect of
But
Carla.
it was just so incredible. Why would I sit at the back of the theatre when I know this is the experience at the front?
That was like when I saw Into the Woods from like the fourth row.
Yeah, it was like, why would I go back?
Well, because we don't have the money to stay
Yeah,
there.
but I sat there. I'm like, I could afford. Like, if I saw theatre a lot less, I could just buy better tickets.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going S tier. It's going the very top of S tier because it was like incredible. I think that's everything. We've not
That's
seen anything else.
that's everything. Do we want to quickly say what shows we're excited to see next year?
We want to see Hades Town. We've put
Yes.
it off for long enough.
There will probably be a Hades Town episode spring of next
We've
year.
like put off even discussing doing it because we like, well, we haven't seen it, so we can't talk
Well,
about
because
it.
like there was a time in like September we were like Hades Town, and it was like, no, it's coming to London. We need to like wait until
Well,
then.
wait, yeah,
But I feel like we've gone to the point where we kind of just need to see it.
yeah, we just gotta bite the bullet and do it.
And we keep talking around it, and we need to go see it. And my phone, my Spotify keeps recommending I listen to Hades Town.
Yeah.
It's like you are listening to
Um,
anything but Hades Town. You are listening to everything everyone else who loves Hades Town is listening to. Why aren't you listening to it?
I am really excited to see it because I know it's gonna be really good.
I saw someone compare it to Phantom of the Opera the other day, like the love story in it, Phantom.
Well, first of all, Phantom is not a love story, so
Well, no, is Hades Town a love story?
yes,
I don't fucking know, man. I don't like Greek mythology. I don't like
It's
Greek
like
mythology.
the most famous love story of all
I
time.
don't like Greek mythology. We've been over this, okay? We're gonna go see Hades Town. Get excited.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else is there anything new opening?
We're going to see Mean Girls.
Yeah,
Now,
we're gonna see Mean Girls.
are we excited to see Mean Girls?
Oh,
Are we intrigued about what it's going to do to our psyches?
yeah,
That's aimed at me.
yeah. I think there's a ton of shows that we've just at least I have never seen, or that both of us have never seen that we want to get like Book of Mormon we talked about we wanted
Yeah,
to see.
we'll go see that.
I've never seen Wicked, so I
We'll
really
go see
want to
Wicked.
see Wicked.
We'll go see Wicked. I want to see Lucy St. Louis in it.
Yeah.
Um,
What was I
Shocked.
Shocked, yeah, I want to see Shocked.
That transfers. I'll go.
It's
Something
not
like
going to transfer anytime next year, but if How to Dance on High ever came to
oh,
London, I really want to see it.
what do I want to come to London? I want some more revivals, please.
I think
Um,
I'd really like to see more of in the open air theatre this coming year.
yes, I'll be
I like
intrigued to see what
never
their
go to
season
it.
is. I saw Legally Blonde
Tuck
there.
Everlasting, Tuck Everlasting.
You want Tuck
Please put Tuck
Everlasting there.
Everlasting in the open air theatre.
I'm excited to see what this new chapter of the Other Palace holds because it seems like they're going back to their old business model, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not going to go see Equal Intentions in
I'm
this
not gonna go
musical,
see it, but I'm excited.
but
I'm excited that it's gone
I'm
back to
very
its
happy
old.
for it.
There's the Clueless musical. They've completely revamped the Clueless musical. It's
Ooh.
no longer a jukebox, so that seems interesting. What else? Next to Normal,
I think,
obviously.
yeah, there's always a chance that Esme does fly over to New York to see The Great Gatsby.
Guys. All we need is a confirmed Gatsby date and pray
And
that.
Esme will be
And no, there's also another part to this. We've just got to pray that Steve Carell and Uncle Vanya doesn't sell out, and I will be there.
there.
Those are the two, and I will be there from the ground, on the ground reporting Great Gatsby. But yeah, we've got
Guys, you can keep this in. We've been trying to figure out what our first episode
I
back
have
is
an
gonna
idea.
be.
I have an idea.
What do you think?
Matilda.
Our first episode back in January will be Matilda the musical.
I thought because like we were talking about like something that's not too light, not too deep, and kind of fun.
Yeah. We talked about doing Bear, but we'll do Bear at different points.
We'll do
So I
Bear a
still haven't
different
listened
time.
to it.
It just doesn't feel right to come back on it. But yeah, we will see you guys
Yeah.
in
In
2024.
January. Oh my god.
We might have some
Merry
new
Christmas, Happy
Merry
Hanukkah,
Christmas,
Happy
Happy
New Year.
Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Is it
I
Kwanzaa
forget
this time? It's not
all it
Eid because Eid's coming on, I think.
holidays in.
We might also be rebranding, guys.
Yule is on the 21st of December.
Yeah.
Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Kwanzaa is on the 26th.
Yeah.
New Year 31st.
Uh-huh.
And the 18th, which is
Yeah.
when this comes out, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, this is coming out on the 18th.
It's International Migrants Day.
Shout out.
On the 20th, it's International Human Solidarity Day. On the 21st, it's both Yule and the winter solstice.
Oh, I'm so excited for the winter solstice. This winter needs to end.
That's kind of all in December.
Wow.
Yay.
But yeah, we will see you back for Matilda the musical. Guys, we have some really fun shows planned out for 2024.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
We're gonna do some ones that we have been talking about doing for a while. Some ones that we talked about today, actually.
Yeah.
And we will finally understand Hades Town. No episodes for the next 2 weeks because it's Christmas and New Year's.
What day are we back on?
The 8th.
January?
8th.
We're back on the 8th. And then every week on Monday.
We might have some bonus content between them.
Yeah.
There's like an hour's rant at me and Noel on talking about how weird the Tony Awards were in the middle of recording Wicked.
Yeah, we might just watch the 2017 Tonys at some point and record our reactions.
And get drunk.
I'm thinking of making a drinking game to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just going to be every time there's a controversial category or a controversial win, which
or
is
Hamilton
every
reference.
single category.
Or Hamilton reference. Yeah.
But aside from that,
thank you guys for listening
and
and
2023
supporting and all this other stuff. It's really fun.
It's crazy how many people have listened. It's crazy.
Yeah. When we started this, we were like, no one's gonna listen.
Like, we just need to get all our thoughts out. No one's gonna care.
We just need to do this, and now people care.
Yeah, so we keep going.
So we keep on keeping on, as they say in the Great British Bake Off musical.
Which everyone should go and listen to.
Guys, we can increase the streams twofold. If you guys want to leave us a rank,
we can bring it back. We alone can bring it back.
Us enough listeners, guys, we can do it. If you guys want to leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts, we'd love to hear from you. We'd like to explain
if you're listening anywhere else, fuck you.
No, Spotify, leave us a rating. If you like Mincemeat. Actually, there's parts you to leave your comments on Spotify. If you wanna tell us why Operation Mincemeat is good, our email's out there.
Follow us on social media.
Follow us on social media.
I promise
And
I post on the Twitter all the time, and I definitely haven't like not posted there for months.
no, you posted there a couple weeks ago. I was very
Oh, I
proud.
made a joke about my Spotify Wrapped. That was kind of it.
Yeah, if you want to see Nell's full Spotify, I have to go to our Twitter.
Yeah.
Anyway, see you on the 8th for
See
Matilda.
you next year.
See you next year. Bye.